racing Wii U in the desert, like Atari did with E.T., and like I did to my ex-wife!
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I am Chad McCanna.
And I am Hyle Russell.
And the reason that I opened the episode is because this is part 2, and we must adhere to Hyle's extremely obsessive-compulsive way of opening the show.
If we don't have strict rules and order in place, then society falls apart.
I've been told that there's a rhyme or reason to this, but he said, you must open the episode this week. And I said, oh, okay.
And next season, we switch.
All right. Unless
one of us misses an episode, and then that one automatically gets to lead the episode because Joe isn't worth shit. Am I right?
There is a tome of legalese that would make the Attorney General's office weep. Just describes all the ins and outs of who opens each episode.
Look, the reason we do this is because we had to sign over our souls to Satan in order to have a weekly podcast about Donkey Kong.
Is this DK Vine canon?
I'm sure it is. Well, Satan is a DK Vine character.
Oh, I know. I read Bitchin' About Brawl.
And he also returned in much of Helmut's adventure, so, you know.
Yeah, naturally. So let's plow through some due diligence. Let's plow through some listener calls that, by the way, are all Rare Replay related, and then talk about that game itself, because it's fucking great, and I'm losing all my free time in it. Although, I guess that game is a leisure activity, so I'm not losing my free time.
It's a little bit weird referring to it as a game, though, because it is games, plural. Like,
yeah, that games.
The thing is, I want to talk about this game, Rare Replay. Well, we'll get into it, because it's a hard apple to bite into, because I don't know where to start chewing.
There's no wrong way, baby. It's like a Reese's peanut butter cup.
No wrong way, baby. I just bite into that juicy round butt and start chewing.
Under the desk in the Oval Office, in the cabinet room, in the sit room itself, while we're taking down Elian Gonzalez. Ain't no wrong way, baby. Taking down Elian Gonzalez? No, they were just sending him home.
Taking down?
He wasn't a drug lord.
That's the kind of
this is not Noriega.
Yeah, that's the kind of hyperbole that you would find on cable news, but luckily Chad is bringing it to the conversation.
Yeah, Janet Reno took down a 6-year-old boy. Good God, we are stuck in the 90s.
But it's the Kongversation. We kind of have to be.
So, if you want to call said Kongversation, dial 1-281-410-KONG.
Yep, that 5664. It shows how reliable that KONG is that we have to always explain it.
I'm not sure whether or not it is unreliable, because every phone that I've seen in the last 10 years has the exact letter mapping. Maybe that's just an artifact of back in the day when there still were rotary phones.
I hope people call in with rotary phones, because have you ever used a rotary phone?
I've only used like a child's rotary phone that has a face on it, like from Toy Story.
Okay. No, I've used a rotary phone. One of my relatives in Pennsylvania still had one, and it was like a party line too. And this was back when I was a kid. I think
did it answer yabba dabba doo? I like talking to you.
No, that would have been delightful, but no, I was always intimidated by it, and my mom would be like, "Oh, can you call blah blah blah? Tell them we're coming over," and I'd be like, This is wrong. This feels wrong." And you put your finger in the hole, and it's just like, and then you twirl it around, and
and you have to talk to the party operator for your local precinct. And
if it's the Flintstones, then it would be some sort of bird, I'm sure.
It's a living.
So anyway, also while we're talking about due diligence, join the DK Vine forum at dkvine.com/forum. This past week, we have just now added Rare discussion. So basically,
yes! It's been requested for a long time.
Basically, this is a discussion board for all things Rare that aren't Donkey Kong Universe related.
Right. And you'd think that would be kind of such a specific set of games and subject matter that, there would be one or two topics and you'd go days without seeing an update. But that's actually been one of the most active subforums in the last week. And I don't think that's purely owing to its newness. There's a lot of Rare Replay discussion, but a lot of really cool talk about the studio, its history, some of its, even non-Rare Replay games like GoldenEye.
90% of the people on the forum, 95% I would say, are Rare diehards. You get some of the Nintendo diehards on there who don't really care about Rare, but for the most part, we're all Rare fans on DK Vine. And
by the way, it's pluralized dies hard.
Dies hard?
Yes, we are all Rare Dies Hard.
Okay.
It's like Surgeons General.
Okay, well, I dies hard with a vengeance for Rare. So, anyway.
You never could get the water in those pots just right, could you?
No, but I don't live free or dies hard. And it's never a good day to dies hard either, because those movies...
Is that the one where they go to Russia?
Yeah, they go to Russia. I love that the Die Hard series has become a Simpsons episode, like a later...
It's McBain, yeah.
Yeah. Die Hard is going to Russia.
Yeah, I mean, it was like obviously, McBain's name comes from John McClane, but he was always a Schwarzenegger pastiche. But that's just what those movies have become.
Yeah,
like why would you send an NYPD cop to Russia?
Well, I'm just pissed that they haven't used the title "Only the Good Die Hard," because that is the title I want to see for a Die Hard movie.
I would love that.
Yeah,
I would go see that movie.
And they've got to have Billy Joel. They've got to have the Billy Joel song.
A terrorist has kidnapped Billy Joel, and only John McClane and his newly cast son can save the day.
And actually, it should follow the plot of the song, where like John McClane falls in love with a Catholic schoolgirl and is trying to convince her to hook up with him.
Ooh, it should be a Cruel Intentions crossover, and we can get Sarah Michelle Gellar back in the limelight.
You just want to hear Bittersweet Symphony in the credits.
Yeah, I do. I'm a huge Verve Pipe fan.
I've talked about on the air that screenplay idea you had as a teenager that would end with Bittersweet Symphony. So
yeah. Oh, and it was basically that movie with Brad Pitt in it.
Yeah, I always associate that song with you. So anyway, yeah.
Well, that's life, Hyle. You try to make ends meet. You're a slave for the money.
What's that about being stuck in the 90s? So yeah, Rare discussion right on top of Platonic discussion. It was weird we had Platonic discussion before Rare discussion, but that's them breaks. So we've sorted it out. Now we have Rare and Platonic and non-Rare and Platonic video games. The other ones. So
right. So if that didn't make sense to you, join the forum and check it out firsthand.
There's never been a better time for it to make sense for you than it is right now.
If you want to listen to this and on the regular and you want it automatically taking up your precious iCloud space.
I thought you were going to say on the rag.
On the rag? No, I'm not Donald Trump.
If you got blood coming out of wherever.
Yeah, wherever. It's not a popular opinion, but that occasionally happens to women, so I'm told. Trump 2016.
Buy a Trump sanitary napkin. They're the classiest. They're huge.
Honestly, it is such a fucking sideshow at this point. I would not put it past his website to issue Trump feminine napkins. I wanted to show I'm a supporter of women and women's issues. This is what you stick up your thing when it bleeds out. Trump 2016. And he would see that as doing a favor to the women's community.
You laugh. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's enjoying the sideshow. I legitimately am worried that it's going to just keep getting worse and he's going to be our next president. It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt.
Until Donald Trump is elected. Oh man.
Anyway, where were we?
A brief tangent. So on my new commute to work, I'm in Soho, just north of Wall Street in New York. When I get out of the subway, and there are two consecutive street corners where someone has scrawled into the pavement, like into the cement, "Trump is a monster" in all caps.
I hope somebody does that whenever there's wet cement in New York.
Yeah, that's instead of like putting your hand in there or drawing a heart with your initials, Trump is a monster.
Yeah, in the Ghostbusters reboot, he should be what walks out of the temple.
Yeah, I am Trump, the Trumparian. So let's talk social media. Where do we exist?
Well, we exist all over the social media sphere. We're on the Facebooks, we're on the Twitters, we're on the Tumblrs, we're on the Instagrams. Kind of on the Instagrams. The Instagram is kind
on
of
hiatus.
Yeah. It's kind of It's like Conker's big reunion. We know more is coming. We just don't know when.
Right. Right now it's in. Well, I guess earlier it would have been in its Ryan Stiles phase. It's Live and Reloaded phase. So yeah, I guess this is an appropriate big reunion analogy. Right.
Wait, what?
I was trying to segue into talking about Ryan Stiles being the second place 2015 Hall of Famer, trying to make a Conquer Live and Reloaded thing, and it just fell apart in my mouth.
Yeah,
My joy for that segue turned to ashes in my mouth.
Just like a juicy piece of roast beef, it just completely fell apart in your mouth.
Yeah, or Joffrey Baratheon.
I assume that's what roast beef does because it's been so long since I've had it, or since I've watched Game of Thrones. Since you just threw in a Game of Thrones reference.
Yeah, I know. I was following up on my own reference that you didn't get because I figured there's someone at home who might have known what I was talking about.
George R.R. Martin listens to this show instead of finishing his novels.
Yeah, exactly. The Winds of Winter is never happening, and it's our fault.
He's not a Donkey Kong fan. He's easily distracted.
This podcast, he really needs to see it through.
We're
all over those things.
But YouTube, yeah. So let's talk about Ryan Stiles real quick.
I was going to talk about Joe.
Okay.
So Joe is the number 2 inductee. No, actually, Joe was number 4. He was you.
He was all. You was all of us. So
you was all of us,
well,
including Joe.
What if Ryan Stiles plays these games and has his own avatar? Would that mean he gets inducted twice?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Stiles. If Ryan Stiles has ever created a me, then he is number or an Xbox avatar, or played It's Mr. Pants. He is number 4 and 2 this year.
Only in his personal DKU canon.
True, for number 4.
Right.
He's objectively number 2, which is something you usually don't want to hear said about you.
Wow, God, why do more people not watch our videos? It's confounding to me.
Joe is going to sort of parlaying off the much lauded Joe reads the YouTube comments segment from last year
from episode 1 of this season.
Yeah, lauded is a good one, right?
We did it for one episode, and you said nope.
So anyway, Joe is going to take a more active role in YouTube engagement. So if you're commenting on any of our videos, including the podcast ones, and you get a reply, it's probably going to be Joe.
Yeah,
so
Joe is just like he's a non-Welshman Santa Claus. Because
exactly
Chad thought he was Welsh for some reason.
Don't explain it. Just say he's non-Welsh.
He's a non-Welsh Santa Claus. Yeah,
it's accurate.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. And now he's reading your YouTube comments, too.
Yeah. So please don't drop any unwarranted F-bombs, for goodness sake. And I'm not talking about fuck. I'm talking about the... whatever.
What?
I'm saying, man, YouTube comments are horrendous. Have you ever read YouTube comments?
I read the ones about Ryan Stiles. And
it's nonstop homophobia. It's just unrelenting.
Yeah, well, that's YouTube, and so that's any comment section on like any news site too. You know, like any like mainstream news site like ABC News. It's just just the worst of humanity. It's the Ark of the Covenant opened up, and
on Fox they combine it with Obama hatred in strange ways. It's like
Obama hatred props up any of these sites because it's just like you have
gun control. That's just Obama trying to give us AIDS.
Kim Kardashian, that's just Obama trying to give us AIDS.
It's all Obama giving people AIDS. Yeah. That's really all those comments are.
They do. But that's what he does, you know. That's why I voted for him twice.
Yeah.
So anyway, I shouldn't really reveal my political leanings. It might be off-putting to some people.
You'll make an extended apology next episode.
I will. So anyway, Ryan Stiles, the Hall of Fame, 4th place or 2nd place, I should say, the 4th inductee, 2nd place winner, even though that doesn't really matter because they're all in the Hall of Fame. And by the time you listen to this episode, the 1st place one will also be up. Which
who could it be now? Knocking at my door.
Who could it be now?
Great non-Jerry Rafferty saxophone solo in that song.
It was a cappella. Could you tell?
Yeah.
I don't actually have a saxophone. Oh, what I just did.
Yeah. In the actual song, it was. Usually, I associate saxophone with Jerry Rafferty and or David Wise, but oh wait, hang on. It would really be wouldn't it? Like, I would love to see a Jerry Rafferty David Wise collaboration.
Yeah, I thought you were applauding my use of saxophone, but I was like, God, that was a cappella, Chad. I don't actually have a saxophone line next to me.
It was so seamless.
It was a convincing. It was a convincing fraud. I know, but no, sorry.
Well, I thank you for coming clean at long last.
I always come clean, if you know what I mean.
Tell your friends about this nonsense.
It means I have a cookbook where I.
Oh God, let's not.
I have the oyster shells ready, the chilled oyster shells. So
Nick
anyway,
Prohl, aka Spuzzwick, is also doing his weekly DKO comics, and this Sunday is a great strip that we've already seen because he is actually ahead of the curve, unlike all of our other site initiatives. So it's Nick's been busy with his life has been getting in the way for Nick, as it does so often for all of us. But he's LGTIW.
Yeah, but he's got this Sunday's comic raring to go, and I do mean raring to go because it features rare characters from off of Conqueror's Pocket Tales.
Yeah, exclusively Conqueror's Pocket Tales characters. So there's a good reason why we made him staff. Clearly,
yeah. Also, so yeah, that's it.
Compelling and rich.
Real quick.
Yeah. You had a mea culpa, didn't you?
I have two corrections to make because I was wrong twice. Well, we were both wrong about something last week, and I was wrong about another thing. So I was wrong twice. You were wrong only once last week.
All right.
First of all, we are both wrong about the 2010 edition of GoldenEye.
Right.
We were taking a task for this on the DK Vine forum, which is
taking a task in that one person pointed out our error.
This is a good reason to join, though. If you ever wanted to tell us off and make us eat shit, then join the DK Vine forum.
You'll probably get banned if you literally do that.
We said that they basically recreated the rare GoldenEye, like redid all the maps, but it was essentially the same game. Apparently, it wasn't. Apparently, they only recreated very specific bits and baubles, but those were probably more from the movie than the game itself.
But in our defense, it was an intentionally confusing marketing campaign.
They marketed it as this is GoldenEye.
Yeah,
and
they knew the value of that brand thanks to Rare.
And I think the fact that it didn't work on us, but we're still confused by it, shows how utterly that failed. I mean, I think it sold well enough, but nobody really talks about it anymore.
No, it shows how successful it is. That we thought that it was essentially the same game, which means that it would probably be a lot better than what I'm sure it was. Yeah. So I'd say they succeeded in confusing us to the point at which we think the game is better than it is.
So we were wrong. We were speaking something we didn't know for sure, but we were speaking with authority and when we had none. So apologies.
When is that different from every other episode of this show?
I guess, but it turns out the 2010 GoldenEye was an even bigger piece of shit than we thought. So there you go.
Yeah.
And also, I mentioned when talking about Rare Replay's music last week, I said that I thought from the Twitch stream that Robin Beanland said that all of the menu music for the games, when you click on the games and you're on the game menu screen, I thought that he made remixes of all those songs, mixed with the Rare Replay theme. But apparently, he only did that for the early games that didn't have music or
but I don't even think that that's accurate, because the Jetpack and Lunar Jetman themes are based on the theme song from Solar Jetman on the NES, which does have music. I don't think that even that's true.
Saberwolf is based off the theme song to Family Ties. Did you know that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Na na na.
I don't know the theme song to Family Ties.
I just know that was a musical stinger that was Family Ties referential on an episode of Arrested Development when Justine Bateman was on the show. So I thought I could get away with it, even though I also don't know what Family Ties theme song is.
Wait, none of the Batemans were on Family Ties.
Yeah, I thought that was the one with right?
No. What show was she on?
I thought it was Family Ties.
Wasn't she? Oh, Family Ties. Yeah, that's the one. I'm confusing that with Facts of Life. Well, okay.
No, Facts of Life is way different.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, Family Ties. She was on Family Ties with Michael J. Fox, with the pre-Parkinson's Michael J. Fox.
You don't say.
I don't know why I framed it like that. Anyway. My mistake.
Really, if there's any significant event in Michael J. Fox's life, it's not like being star of the silver screen. It's that he got Parkinson's.
Did you know? Did you know this is the day? This very day is the day Marty and Doc traveled to the future.
Oh, really? I think I read that on BuzzFeed. That's amazing.
Yeah. And did you know tomorrow it's the very day they travel to the future, and the day after that
That's amazing because I've traveled to all those days in my DeLorean, and I read that on BuzzFeed.
It's actually in October BuzzFeed, so get over it.
So yeah, what is it, October 15th or something?
It's someday in October, and then we can finally put. I'll be so glad when 2015 is over, even though I haven't gotten my Pepsi Perfect, nor have I gotten my hoverboard.
But we do have resurrected dead celebrities in holographic form.
We do, and
we have games that don't play like a baby's toy.
Yeah, and Elijah Wood is still the size of a toddler, so.
That's right. And his feet are just as hairy as they were in Back to the Future 2.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I misunderstood the good Robin Beanland, and I was speaking not what I know, so apologies. So
For shame, Hyle. So disappointed. So let's talk about Rare Replay.
Well, why don't we take those calls about Rare Replay?
Exactly right. We do have some, and so apologies if your call doesn't get played. There were some actually really good questions that are not Rare Replay related, and we're continuing our impressions of this behemoth of a game. So we'll be playing those in a future episode. Keep calling. Ask us whatever you want. This episode, if it wasn't on point, we put it off, but we didn't just get rid of them. But let's take the first one, yeah?
Sure.
Hey, this is Mitchell Wolf again. Sorry for disrupting the episode last week for really no reason. To be fair, though, you didn't have to play it.
That's true.
Yes,
this week's question is, going forward, do you think you're going to go back to Rare Replay or back to the Nintendo 64 to play something like Banjo-Kazooie? Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
That's a good question, and I've got a clean answer for you, as clean as my semen.
What? Why would we? Every episode for like the last 2 months, I've been asking you why you do this. What do you mean as clean as your semen?
It's my shtick. Everybody has a shtick.
Is that where your semen comes from?
It's a shticky part of my body.
Please get a new shtick.
My sticky stick. I think I'm gonna play Rare Replay, and there's a good reason for that, and that's because one, I want to give Rare Replay its due, and there's just so much to bite off of that apple again that it's almost impenetrable at the start, and you just have to spend time with it to really absorb it and really hit everything in there. But also because I have my N64 packaged away, it's boxed up somewhere. I only keep like maybe 4 or 5 video game consoles in use at any time. I obviously have to keep anything that I'm slush funding, anything from the slush fund era onwards around. So when I slush fund it, which is basically just Donkey Konga 2 at this point, but you know what I mean. So I have to keep all those consoles in play. But anything before that, I really don't have the space for. So if I can play something on the Virtual Console or on Xbox Live Arcade or now on Rare Replay, I'll play it on that.
Yeah, my answer is much the same. I do have my Super Nintendo and my N64 hooked up to my TV, but I feel like playing them on those native consoles is really more of a historical artifact for me at this point, because
it's harder to do in a digital age too. You lose, I don't know, like. You have to change all the settings to make it playable, and it's just a little bit more hassle, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the hassle so much because I've been putting up with it, for pre-Rare Replay all this time. It's just I feel like what they've done to especially the N64 games, like Jet Force Gemini, it looks incredible, and
there's no reason to go back to the N64 Jet Force at this point.
Yeah, and same for Conquer. I mean, it's Conquer with a consistent frame rate and high resolution, despite the fact that it's not 16:9. For the first time, I was able to look around the hungover area where you meet Birdie and the gargoyle, and actually kind of understand the geography of how it spirals up. I never really got that.
Really?
Yeah, I never. I mean, I knew that you were curving, and I knew sort of conceptually that giant tree stump that you see in the distance when you get on top of the barn is that area, because it's kind of in that general direction, but I never quite understood I mean, of course, it had to exist in 3D space because they constructed it and you play it, but the dots never connected. It never clicked in my brain until I was standing next to Birdie. I looked up, but the resolution was good enough that off in the distance, I can see the gargoyle and see where he is. And I'm like, oh my God, that's how this all fits together.
Well, yeah, the thing about Bad Fur Day was it pushed the N64 to its absolute limits, and
a little beyond in some places.
Well, yeah, it should have never run on the N64, considering it was just glorified cutscene after cutscene, you know.
Well, hey now, glorified. That's a loaded adjective, isn't it?
I mean, Conker's Bad Fur Day is what it is. I love it, but
we have a
no. It's. We've talked about this before. It's basically an interactive movie. I mean, it's the gameplay isn't like Banjo caliber. It's
right.
You play Conker for the comedy and the story, and you don't really play it to play like a ball busting platformer game.
Yeah, it's more like a series of disparate mini games strung together by cutscenes and a platforming mechanic.
Yeah, we've talked about this on the show, and there's nothing bad about that.
It was just the way you were phrasing it. It seemed like it was sort of castigating.
No, I mean, we've castigated Conker's Bad Fur Day on the show. Like, compared to the Banjos, yeah, it doesn't hold up as well.
Compared to Banjos, yeah.
I mean, we've done it for Donkey Kong 64, so it's not like this is any like sacred holy ground we should not cross. But
right, but where I think DK64 sort of it was a lesser example of Banjo in almost every arena. Well, there are some clear areas where Conker stands out.
Right, Conker had to do its own thing, and I love the one-upmanship, the battle between Dream and Conker's Quest that eventually gave birth to both Banjo-Kazooie and Bad Fur Day. I love how both those games kind of had to evolve due to the pressure from the other game, and I just love that history of Banjo and Conker that is rarely talked about because it's fascinating to me.
And now it's been canonized, both of them, in Rare Replay.
Yeah, so Conker's. Yeah, and like Ghoulies, like there's no reason to go back to the Xbox Ghoulies. I mean, oh my God.
Right, exactly. So I think we both answered Mitchell's question. That I like Rare Replay. I like the updates that have been made to Rare Replay because they preserve the games. It's not a remake.
But by the way, Mitchell, you're part of the inner circle basically at this point. You've got our fucking cell phone numbers.
You've texted us before.
You text us all the time. You could just text us this question.
He just wants to hear his voice heard.
I guess. All right.
Yeah. All right. So I'm almost certain the next caller doesn't call us just to hear his own voice.
Oh no.
Good day, lads. Scrap 69 here. How's it going, eh, lads? All right. So I've been bloody hooked on Rare Replay, specifically Viva Pinata, the bloody biggest don't suck of life. And at the moment, my bloody game is bugged out as all hell. Anyway. I'm not here to have a go, little furry lads, but that doesn't stop me at any other time, eh, lads? So, in Viva Pinata, what you do, right, is you grow crops to attract and capture hungry pinatas. You buy and sell.
I hope the rest of his call is describing the game.
You possibly romance them. You send them over to parties in a crate so they can get beaten with a stick. You can get them sick by feeding them poorly. You can kill them with little to no consequence with a shovel and get the other piñatas to eat their insides. You can set them on fire, set them to fight, kill, and even eat each other. Do crazy experiments and deform them.
We need to start screening these calls.
And label it as an evolution.
I'm trying to listen to this call.
And if you run out of piñatas, you can get new piñatas cheaply by express or standard delivery. And you know what, lads? This reminds me of the days of the apartheid.
Oh, God damn it.
Occurred in South Africa, where the Dutch lads owned dark lads farms.
Jesus.
In South Africa, they called it dark lad piñata. Bloody hell. There were even sour piñatas trying to go all the Django and shit, trying to blow everything up, trying to...
and you talk about my shtick, Chad.
Getting Christoph Waltz and shit on,
You'll take a semen joke over this.
By the way. Yeah,
he sucked us in with the Viva Pinata.
Anyway, I find it bloody outrageous that Rare would plagiarize this horribly sick idea. It's a fucking travesty. And honestly, outrageous.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Apartheid is outrageous.
Grind my gears longer than a few seconds because I have a seriously important question for you. That is, which piñata is best? All right, lad, have a good one.
Oh my God, that's actually a pretty important question.
Haven't we been asked this question before?
I think we've been asked our favorite, but we've not been asked which one is best.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay.
Those are two distinct questions, Hyle.
I mean,
you know, like we've said in the past that sort of there's a distinction between best and favorite, like in the Donkey Kong Country series. So I think Piñata applies as well.
Well, then I guess Horstachio would be the best because he's the most well known, right?
Well, you can have whatever reason you want.
Okay, well, like my favorite, I've already
These
established.
are National League Bears rules.
Viva Piñata is still the one area of the DKU where I have the least amount of knowledge. Because
Same here.
It was a big thing when we were off making Emmy Award-winning television shows.
That's a thing that really happened.
That's a thing that really happened for new listeners. Look it up, or don't, because it's underwhelming when you actually look it up. But
yeah, it's on Wikipedia, and
it's on Wikipedia and everything. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and we accepted the Emmy on YouTube, so people it happened.
Which
anyway.
you can't hear them play me off as I'm about to give my speech. Which I was going to make a dick joke anyway, so it's for the best. But no, I said
a dick joke. How innocent! You must not have gotten into semen jokes by that point yet. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it takes a while to unload the semen jokes. You know.
But yeah, I have the same kind of gap in my gaming history, and I've recently been playing Cameo for shamefully the first time outside a store demo.
Yeah, Chris Alcock threatened to break your legs in an alley if you didn't play it first.
That's true.
Replay.
That's true. And I value my legs. And I'm sure he would have made sure it was a clean break, you know, as unpainful as humanly possible.
You need your legs for Connect Sports. Yeah.
Exactly right, Hyle. No, I have fallen in love with Cameo. It's so cool. I didn't really understand that it was a puzzle game in addition to being a action platformer. It's really like the way that Zelda temples are sort of a puzzle, but there's a completely different way to approach this, unlike Star Fox Adventures, which leaned it feels like Star Fox Adventures with a completely unique gameplay mechanic.
When you say a puzzle game, I think like puzzle games as in Tetris and it's Mr. Pants.
No, I mean that you have to approach the game with a puzzle solving kind of mindset.
A puzzler, then.
Not really. I mean, maybe puzzle is really putting the wrong picture in people's minds. It's not like a screen where you try and do things to blocks or objects. It's it's an action, a 3D action brawler kinda. But the way that you approach the stage is very. It's like solving a Zelda temple. That's probably the best way to put it. But it's unlike Zelda in that it's very action oriented and very it's just a really cool game. I haven't played anything like it before, or I haven't heard of anything coming out since it's been out, and I'm really enjoying the hell out of it. But
I'm looking forward to really getting into Cameo. But Viva Piñata, yeah.
That's the same sort of thing for me. It's like I never really got into it.
Well, I know Viva Piñata is going to be a massive, massive, massive time suck, and I almost don't want to get into it in Rare Replay because I have the original Viva Piñata right here. And I'm getting close to it in the slush fund. If I can ever get past Donkey Konga 2, I'm just going to sail through all these games and land on Viva Piñata. So
here's a question for you. When you get there, will you play it from Rare Replay or will you play it on your 360?
Slush fund, I'll play the original first.
Even though it is literally the identical game, booting in an officially sanctioned Xbox 360 emulator.
I try to recreate the original experience as much as possible. So
okay, all right.
But my favorite piñata, as I previously established, is Sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla. It's sarsaparilla, but with gorilla.
Oh, that's your favorite one?
Yeah, because I'm always about the apes. I love apes.
That's all well and good, but that has nothing to do with the question that was asked.
No. If you're going to choose the best one, it'll probably be Horstachio or Professor Pester or one of the main ones. You know?
Yeah. I'm actually going to have to abstain because I don't feel familiar enough with the full breadth of Piñata to be able to answer the question.
I like how you say that like you're ready for Lobo when you throw into Spanglish when we're ready for Lobo. And
well, we all know that I'm running for elected office in 2016, so I want to make sure that I pander to as many demographics as possible.
Yeah, well, we're running against each other for office, and I say put up the wall, but you're trying to.
And I say piñata.
No, actually, I don't think there should be a wall. I say welcome all immigrant friends.
Piñata or non?
It sounds so offensive when you say it like
yeah,
that.
because I didn't say it in Spanish. I said English with an Hispanic accent.
You're just doing a Taco Bell dog, Chad.
Exactly. I'm reaching in and doing the second most racist Carlos Alazraqui voice.
You're just going back and doing whatever like Mexican accent you can do from the 90s, and that's the one you're landing on.
Yeah, pretty much.
This show is basically just I love the 90s.
Yeah. We're going to have guest host Michael Ian Black on next week. Wait for our hard-hitting interview with Mo Rocca.
Yeah, I was going to say I can't wait till Mo Rocca sits in for us on the Virtual Boy episode. It's going to be...
So, thanks for the call, Scraps. Let's take another.
All right.
How's it going, guys? This is Trainer Derek from the forum.
Hey.
Hope you guys are still enjoying Rare Replay as much as I am.
Oh, we are.
Nope.
So basically, the whole era of the 64, where most of these rare games are from, I missed out on. Like, I had the Mario games, and that was about it. I think at the time, for whatever reason, parents just taught me PlayStation games over Nintendo, so missed out on Banjo, missed out on Conquer, all that good stuff, so really excited to finally get around to it.
Yay!
Anyway, my question for today was,
unnecessary, by the way.
I know, just reading up online, like, Conquer coming out when it did and what it was a really big deal. And, you know, I remember even when I was younger, and I was only born in 93, still hearing that, like, Simpsons was offensive to a lot of people still.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm just wondering the kind of reactions you guys had, you know, when Conquer was coming out and when you finally got around to playing it. You know, simple question, but I always like your guys' take on that kind of thing. So, thanks for doing the show. Love it. Enjoy it. Keep up the good work. Have a good one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Derek. Can I call you Derek or Trainer or...
Full title, Trainer Derek.
Thank you, Trainer Derek. Okay.
I don't think he's ever called, or if he has, it would have been a long time ago.
No, it's nice to hear a new voice who isn't talking about apartheid and dark lads. We love you, Scraps. Yeah. We love you. By the way, Scraps, thank you again for that video. I don't know if I ever acknowledged it on the air, but thank you for the video of me blowing Donkey Konga 2 while it sings Rare Replay.
Yeah, he submitted that as his official entry into the Rare Replay sing-along.
Yeah, and I believe...
And he said in the tweet, he said, ignore the first bit, that's for Hyle from DK Vine.
Yeah, I believe my face is covered with semen, so thank you for that video. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it's on YouTube.
So anyway, Trainer Derek.
Yes, this is a good question. Now, Chad and I were incredibly fortunate because we're old timers here. Conker's Bad Fur Day came
born in the year 1905.
83 for me.
Odd is 80. Oh yeah, you were 83. Yeah,
83. Yeah. Born in 83. That's Bruce Springsteen, kind of. So anyway. I'm just becoming
even if it's a shit impression, you're at least singing like a well-known song. I wouldn't think that
I'm becoming Michael Scott from The Office, basically, where I make a joke and then I immediately explain it.
I don't think any of our listeners thought "Born in the USA" was a Liza Minnelli impression.
You never know. I mean, I assume all of our listeners aren't from Jersey, so they might not be familiar with Springsteen's work, his discography. No, this is a good question because Chad and I, we were fortunate in that we kind of came of age, which, I mean, we were like turning 18.
I turned 16.
You turned 16. I turned 18 right when Conker's Bad Fur Day came out, kind of.
I guess I was still 15 in March when it came out in 2001, and I turned. I
think I was 17. I was 17 because I turned 18 that fall.
You were 16, going on 17. That's a song.
When I was 17, it was a very good year. I played Bad Fur Day. I don't know how to rhyme this.
You could almost do
Frank Sinatra.
Well, you could almost do Homer. Thank you. You could do Homer's like, I played a game where a squirrel drank some very good beer.
Yes, yeah, but I was actually going for a reference to the song itself, not the Simpsons joke on the song.
But I'm saying the beer works for the Simpsons reference.
Beer always works. So I'm saying drink.
Yeah, I remember.
You bitch! You fucking bitch!
I remember more because at this point my parents had kind of given up on any notion of policing what I did online because
once you could finally watch The Simpsons, then it was everything was fair game at that point.
Oh yeah. I remember I was allowed to watch The Simpsons about a season before South Park came out, and they had no problems with that.
Yeah. But like for me, I turned 17 the fall before Bad Fur Day, so I could actually, it was like perfect timing. It was like the DKU hit this M rating just as I could buy M rated games on my own. So
I bought it on my own anyway, but that was back before people really gave a shit.
Oh, they carded me for Bad Fur Day. Like I distinctly remember them asking, and I was just like, "Yep, I'm 17." And so it was kind of cool. It was just like the DKU grew up alongside me, you know.
Yeah, that was your version of buying cigarettes and smoking them in an alley so your parents won't catch you.
I bought 2 Bad Fur Days, one to play and one to smoke. I lit up the cartridge and I inhaled a lot of plastic that day.
That's why you have emphysema.
Yeah, but I'm proud of it. Just like
it was earned.
It's just like my hand scar that's still there. I'm looking at my hand scar right now from Tug of War from Mario Party. The hand scar in the middle of my hand. Well, yeah, my lungs coated with Conker's Bad Fur Day is another badge of honor.
Yeah, that's also, by the way, what THQ seemingly did to half of Bad Fur Day's stock, because there's no reason other than an insanely low supply for those things to be as expensive as they are in the black market.
Once again, THQ only published it in Europe.
You sure about that?
Absolutely sure.
Okay. Well, still, they burned them. I guess.
Anyway, no, it was actually published by Rare in the U.S.
Okay, cool. Good for... Oh, yeah, they were kind of a publisher for a while, weren't they?
Diddy Kong Racing, baby. That was their first...
Yeah!
Diddy Kong Racing, Conker's Pocket Tales, Bad Fur Day. What else? I want to say Jet Force was, but I'm not sure on that.
So I remember more than the release of the game itself and being traumatized or not by that... the announcement of what Conker had become. I remember there being reports leaking out of some behind closed doors event of the Saving Private Ryan sequence. And then this was in the days when internet video wasn't really mainstream because there were still a huge portion of people on dial-up. But the videos started to leak out and the screenshots started to leak out, and we thought Conker was kind of dead at that point. It was much like the Project Spark thing. We hadn't heard about 12 Tales in a long time.
Well, I'm not sure about the chronology there, because do you remember the website when they had the Coming Soon website where it was under construction and you could hear the characters cursing behind the... Like, you couldn't see them, but it was just like Frankie and some of the other characters.
But that was after we already kind of knew about it, because I remember looking at that website, we were trying to theorize who the characters were, because by that point, Rareware had already updated with some of the cast. And so we were like, "Ooh, is that Ron? Who's that voice?" It turned out like a lot of it was Frankie in the paint pot.
But there was definitely a period where we had heard rumors about Conker going under an M-rated transformation, because we thought Conker was going to become like a serial killer or something. I remember you made an image of Conker wearing a hockey mask, like
Jason.
Yeah, for the Bad Fur Day it wasn't Bad Fur Day. No, we knew it was Bad Fur Day. We knew the title was Conker's Bad Fur Day before anything else. Mm-hmm. And anyway, it's kind of hazy, but I do remember that image, and I've tried to look for it, but I think it's gone from our server.
Oh no!
Yeah, I don't think it was saved.
That sucks. It's not even in the 12 Tales Conker 64 section in the aborted?
I've scoured the site. No.
Damn. Oh, that sucks. Oh well.
Lost the history.
Maybe it was on a news post.
Nope, it was the placeholder image for the logo for the games page.
Okay, well, sorry to derail your answer, Trainer Derek. But yeah, I remember much more of the lead up to Conquer because we were keyed into it at that point, and I remember loving it because at that point I was a huge South Park fan.
Well, for me, it was kind of a validation of my love for the Donkey Kong universe. That the Donkey Kong universe, it can be mature, it can curse, it can be crude, it can be about sex. Because when you're that age, you're looking for anything to kind of show like what you're into is mature and
there was also a lot of denigration of Banjo-Kazooie, Tooie, and Diddy Kong Racing for being cutesy. That was the big thing.
The whole anti-cutesy thing started around Country 3 because that's the first time I've heard people complain about that. And that was also when the PlayStation was becoming a thing, when the dude bro demographic started cropping up. It didn't really explode until the early 2000s. So when Conquer came about, like right on the verge of the Xbox launching, Halo, all that, it was just kind of like, aha, you can't make fun of this now, assholes.
And I even went so far as to write a feature back then called "The Death of Cutesy Games" or something like that.
Yeah, that doesn't really hold up, I don't think. Considering I think we'll take cutesy games 9 times out of 10 now.
Right. Well, else. Yeah. It was like Conquer was the alternative, not Call of Duty 8.
Right.
So it was really within the small bubble of the DKU. I was saying cutesy games are dead, but I also didn't understand at that point, like the full depth of Banjo-Tooie's self-awareness, that like they're really playing up that trope in certain places, or at least Kazooie is making fun of it. So I don't think I gave the whole the quote unquote cutesy games a fair shake in that article either. But also I was young, dumb, and full of cum.
Wow. Okay. Let me
Sorry, I find that like the funniest rhyme that you get in horrible pop-up ads. Young, dumb, and full of cum. Like, how is that appealing to anyone? That is horrific.
What websites are you visiting, Chad?
Usually when I'm trying to like download some obscure TV show from the 80s that there's like literally no way to get outside of torrent, you get a lot of porn pop-ups on torrent sites. Also porn sites, because I watch pornography.
Oh, I watch Family Ties on porn sites.
na.
So I think when you're that age too, you're just inherently more cynical, and you think that's a profound worldview to have. Like, I'm the world sucks, and nobody understands it, but except for me, as I take a smoke on this cigarette here. So Bad Fur Day kind of inherently appealed to us. So it was just perfect timing. I don't know. I'm more cynical about that worldview. I think optimism and I don't know. I've kind of come around again to more of a childlike view of the world, or at least I attempt to have a childlike view of the world where I try to see the best in things. And
I think it's just more being appreciative. It's not real, and maybe children are just more inherently appreciative of things because they're not jaded.
Because they're seeing everything with fresh eyes. Yeah.
So basically I like to live my life like I've just taken a handful of mushrooms.
Yeah.
What are these mechs that are roaming around this flat concrete surface? Oh my god, how is this legal? Everyone's going to kill each other.
I just put opiates in bananas because I'm such a Donkey Kong diehard that I refuse to take mushrooms out of principle, because that's just promoting Mario, Chad.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just put like opiates and then just straight up heroin in bananas, and I just consume
opiates and heroin, eh?
Yeah.
Both opiates and heroin. That's quite the cocktail.
It really makes me mellow.
Next caller. Thanks, Trainer Derek.
Yeah, thanks. Good question.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Hello, this is DK Vine Forum user, the ACZ, and I am coming to you guys with a very interesting question. Recently, I just beat Banjo-Kazooie on Rare Replay and have decided to start playing Banjo-Tooie. And the very first thing I decided to do was to hatch all my Stop and Swap eggs over at Heggy's shack. And what happened was I finished getting all of them hatched when I unlocked Stop and Swap 2. But what got me was a certain line that Banjo and Kazooie talk about after getting Stop and Swap 2. You see, they remark on how they wonder if by their 20th anniversary that they'll be able to see this. So my question to you is, do you think that we're actually going to be getting a new Banjo game to coincide with the 20th anniversary of Banjo-Kazooie coming up in just about 3 years? And do you think that Stop and Swap 2 will actually play a part? That's about it. Hope to see you guys, well, whenever. Have a great show.
Wait, you hope to see us?
He's
okay.
watching. He's gonna like creep into our bedroom window at night and just watch us sleep.
He just listens to Sting's "I'll Be Watching You" on a Walkman repeatedly.
Every time something in your apartment is like misplaced or isn't where you thought you left it, that's because the ACV was there, Chad.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, thanks for the call. Thanks for calling. I believe you're a first-time caller as well.
From off of the forum.
From off of the forum. So
you see? It's a friendly place. They use telephones. Good people. What? Good people, those forumers.
So anyway, this is a good question. I'm gonna follow up on what I said in the last call about optimism.
There's literally no way to know.
No. I think that's actually a very good guess, and I would say by 2018, I'm sure we're gonna have a new Banjo game.
No, this is actually a good thing because I am usually I've turned into the skeptic between the two of us. I was that on Smash. I'm that with Kevin Callahan.
You're my sexy redheaded Scully.
Oh yeah. Oh, every single one of those adjectives, and including female.
But hey, we know Agent Reyes is coming back for X-Files season 10.
Oh Jesus! Oh gee! They with one hand they giveth the lack of a romantic relationship between Mulder and Scully, and in the other they taketh away by giving us. Wait, actually, those hands should be switched. By giving us Monica Reyes.
Oh, what if Mulder and Reyes have hooked up? Ooh, wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, that sounds saucy because she's so spiritual.
She can channel the lone gunman. That's how they're coming back.
She's almost metaphysical.
She can have psychic visions of the lone gunman and communicate what they're thinking.
How did that woman ever get through Quantico? How did she ever graduate the FBI Academy? Oh my God, she is the worst.
Maybe we'll find out in season 10 of the X-Files.
It'll be an entirely there'll be like a multi-episode mythology flashback to Monica Reyes's time in Quantico, and Annabeth Gish will still play her.
It's actually going to be a 5-part five-part story. 5 of the 6 episodes is going to just be about Reyes' backstory.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, she was the second most interesting Bartlett daughter. Like, don't give this woman
Chris Carter finishes script 505 and he leans back in his chair, sips a cup of coffee and says, "Still got it."
She's terrible. There was a made-for-TV movie of Stephen King's Desperation in which she was one of the lead actors.
This is such a Chad McCanna complaint. There's a made-for-TV Stephen King adaptation with Annabeth Gish, and she was just terrible in it.
The only failing to the Desperation miniseries was that it was not paired with a counter series that takes place in the Nozalaw universe called The Regulators. Which, by the way, if you want to know the depth of Stephen King's psychosis, put together the covers for The Regulators by Richard Bachman and Desperation by Stephen King, which were released on the same day.
You can't see it, but I'm making the jerk off motion with my hands right now.
He's an insane person, Stephen King, in the best possible way. But he's a fucking crazy. He released a novel in his pseudonym that contains characters with the same names but different characters in his alternate universe that he's been constructing his entire life's work, and on that same day he wrote a completely distinct novel that takes place in our universe. It's fucking insane.
Surprisingly, ladies, Chad McCanna is not single.
That's right. And actually earlier this week Janelle saw Stephen King on the Upper West Side.
Really?
Yeah, she texted me and everything.
Is he now tied to your bed, Misery style?
Yeah, we've lobbed off his feet because we're purists. None of this hobbling shit from the movie.
So anyway, good lord. No, I Chad, what was your whole point?
What was I talking about? Stephen King,
Annabeth
Desperation, Annabeth Gish. Let's trace back the tangent.
Mystic
Where did
Pizza,
that come from? X-Files. What was the ACV's question?
About a new Banjo game for the 20th anniversary that would use Stop and Swap 2.
I'm
or
optimistic.
Stop and Swap 3 or whatever.
I'm optimistic, and I'm usually the skeptic because I'm the sexy redhead X-Files tangent. There we go.
There we go.
I'm usually the skeptic, but on this, I feel like, yes, it would be a massive coincidence that they had that line in the XBLA version. I don't think that would have been intentional. 4J Studios would have had no way to commit Rare to this.
But then, I'm sure people said there's no way Twin Peaks is coming back in 25 years.
Yeah, but I think David Lynch has much more control over what he gets to make than necessarily Rare, because they are also at the whims of the market. And
but here's a way of looking at it. No, it wasn't planned, but I think the way the fates are lining up, it's a good bet.
That's a perfect summation. Yep, I agree.
Because we have now hit the era where people are still unfairly critical and harsh towards Rare, but everything except Banjo. People just love Banjo. Banjo is now immune from all of this criticism. Banjo is now like nostalgia beloved.
There have been a lot of Banjo X, the Xbox version of Banjo that never got off the ground.
Oh yeah, we saw Mr. Termite, and then we saw Conga Kong, of course.
We also recently, you may not have seen it, Hyle, saw Mumbo Jumbo.
Really?
Yeah, and it was him animated with full lip sync saying "Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough." Mm-hmm. So yeah, pretty fantastic. And
when was that? When did Steve Mails share it? Was that Steve Mails who shared it?
It was either Steve Mails or it might have been Ed Bryan. I'm not sure, but it was earlier this week on Twitter. I think the video was a little blurry. It was like one of those Vine videos, very short clip.
You mean one of ours or one of the videos on Vine?
On Vine, the latter. Okay. And it was, but it was. You could tell that it was sort of moving toward that blocky style. But the way his mouth moved, the lip sync and everything, it looked amazing. And that would have been pretty cool to see. And it still would be cool to see. So yeah. I don't think anyone at Rare has forgotten about Banjo.
No, and I think they see how the love for Banjo, and I still think that whenever they're going to revive an IP, they're going to outsource Battletoads, but I have a feeling Banjo will be made in-house.
I can't see how it wouldn't be, with Greg Mails still there especially.
And I think Greg Mails has just got to find, does he have anything more to say about Banjo? And if he doesn't, that's fine, because there's so many talented people at Rare that I have faith that I knew Banjo would be done with the proper respect. And I'm sure they would consult Greg and everybody else, so.
Although, to be honest, I honestly wouldn't be all that upset with a Sea of Thieves sequel. And I know that's strange to say, considering we haven't even
we've seen one trailer for Sea of Thieves, and you're already I want 10 of them. I want
one more than the Chief Blodazen series.
I want Sea of Thieves Golf. That's what I want. I want spin-off sports titles. That's what
it'll be called Golf of Thieves. It'll just be the whole of Thieves, crocheting of Thieves. But because and MF Wolf sort of told us, Mitchell Wolf, the earlier caller, he was also at E3 and talked briefly to. He talked to Greg Mails at San Diego Comic-Con. And was talking about how his favorite games of his were Donkey Kong Country 2, Banjo-Tooie, Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise, and Greg Mails basically said, "Oh yeah, kind of our sequels are sort of always our best ones," and I agree with that assessment, and I think it's because unlike a movie where a sequel is usually repetitive, or actually video game sequels are usually like that too. I think that Greg Mails and Rare are. They do sequels right.
Well,
in that they try and push themselves on a strong foundation and take it in wildly innovative directions.
If you're a competent filmmaker, then sequels can always be better than the original. Look, Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back, The Dark Knight.
The Godfather Part 2 basically invented the prequel.
Right.
It's brilliant.
Sequel prequel, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it told a story that predated the original, which was kind of unheard of.
Grundy's Revenge actually took notes from The Godfather Part 2.
You can tell.
It took place, it was a sequel to Kazooie, and it also was a prequel because it showed the backstory of Spiral Mountain. So
and Banjo woke up with that giant Jinjo head in his front yard. Yeah,
that's true. And it was set to the forest music from Donkey Kong Country.
Brilliant clickhole article.
So anyway, so which I think it shows how beloved the soundtrack to Donkey Kong Country is, that there could be a clickhole article about that, and
it didn't just use the jungle theme.
Suck it, Sakurai.
Clickhole gives more of a shit about Donkey Kong Country's legacy than Sakurai does.
Anyway, I think we'll definitely see. I think 3 years is a good ballpark figure for a new Banjo game.
Didn't they recently announce Sea of Thieves for 2016?
I don't know. Maybe they did.
I thought that happened in like the last week.
But of course, this is rare, so there's always delay. There's always the possibility of delays.
It's true.
It's rare.
Well, it's not just rare. It's just the nature of video game development now with these massive AAA style titles.
Look. Banjo is definitely going to be a Rare IP that's going to be revived. Everybody's freaking out. Oh, Rare's making this new game. Well, one, Sea of Thieves is connected to the Banjo universe, so calm down,
Right.
Two, they're going to bring back Banjo, but the time has got to be right, and I think it's the 20th anniversary is as good a time as any, So we'll see.
Right.
But I think they will utilize Stop and Swap and tie that in.
Of course. Considering, it's Stop and Swap 2 was sort of that was hinted in Nuts and Bolts after you use all the eggs from Kazooie and Tooie, right?
Yeah.
So,
and look, and you said 4J did that, but the 4J versions are in Rare Replay, so it's kind of gotten Rare's blessing,
Well, no, but in Nuts and Bolts, those collectibles were leveraged, and now Nuts and Bolts is back. Being played by a wider audience than it originally was.
Right.
So I think the timing is perfect, and those are tied to achievements that are tied to your Xbox One gamer tag. So it could certainly be utilized.
It's a lot more simpler now than yanking out your cartridge.
Yes. I don't think Microsoft will say that you're going to brick people's Xboxes by linking together these achievements.
Yeah, and come on, I bricked so many 360s just running them. So
yeah.
Anyway, thanks for the call.
Yeah, call again soon, the ACV. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Hey there, Chad and Hyle. It's Malik once again.
Hey,
guys, another question. So I'm sure you're aware that Rash of the Battletoads is making a guest appearance in Killer
Rash
Instinct,
of the
and I'm of
Battletoads.
course excited to see him in there. I actually thought the Toads would make a great fit in that series since day one. During the announcement of that, I think the Microsoft representative said that there'd be other guest characters from Rare Replay coming in the future too. Now I'm not entirely sure if she said that, but that sounds like it could be pretty interesting, which got me thinking, if there was a DKU guest character in Killer Instinct, who would you guys like to see, and who do you think would be a good fit for it? Or alternatively, who would be the worst fit for Killer Instinct? Really, the possibilities are endless with this one, but that's all I got for you this time, and Hyle, in case Chad has not told you, Ukulele is officially DKU.
Yes.
So have fun with that. Bye.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I was not texting, but Facebook messaging with Malik while he was at a games event in Canada that Grant Kirkhope participated in. He said, "Is there anything you want to ask Grant Kirkhope?" And I said, just thank him for the great time at E3. Say hi from the guys at DK Vine. And then I said, and if you get a chance, ask him about the rapper characters in the GK rap from Ukulele. Yeah, I'm coming back to that. I
hate my life. I hate my life.
Yeah, so Grant Kirkhope confirmed.
What did Grant Kirkhope say? I want his words. I want his words.
Basically the same thing he said on Twitter, that Chris Sutherland will be reprising his role.
Is that all he said? Because he said the same thing on Twitter, and it's still...
All right, Malik, go to the Kongversation thread and clarify for us.
Malik, are you even on the forum, Malik?
We need exact verbiage, Malik.
Malik, there's never been a better time to join.
Never been a better time, Malik. Come on.
Come on, you're a conversation celebrity at this point. You should be on the forum. You should be active on the forum. So
you know what? Don't even post it in the conversation thread. Post it in the Platonic discussion sub forum, because this deserves its own topic. In fact, it already has its own topic.
You know, we had dinner with Grant Kirkhope. Why didn't we just settle there?
We could have just asked him then.
I think we were too amazed that we were having dinner with Grant Kirkhope that we didn't want to like rock the boat and be weird.
It was somewhat surreal, yes.
Yeah.
Nicest guy in the world. But a very fast talker. It's hard to keep up.
Oh my God. He reminded me of the guy from remember the Micro Machine commercials with the fast talker?
Oh yeah, of course. How could I forget?
Yeah.
I'm obviously steeped in the 90s.
So yeah, that's what Grant Kirkhope reminds me of, except with a British accent, so it's even harder to keep up.
Yeah. It's like anyone who talks that fast, you know how fast their brain is moving and like how intelligent they are, and you feel like you need to mentally jog to participate in the conversation.
This is how Grant Kirkhope made 10 games in like 2 years in the N64 era, because he was just like
Yeah, and those games like Banjo-Kazooie has 120 something variations of music. Like, it's crazy, this man's output.
The whole reason they made Grab by the Ghoulies was not for any creative artistic vision. It's just Grant Kirkhope said, oh, by the way, I made 120 songs for this haunted house game. I don't know, use it if you want.
Yeah. These were all Mad Monster Mansion alternate takes. Use them.
Wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, this is a debate we'll have for another day, but I am intrigued, Malik. Chad, I'm willing to hear him out, so don't think I'm poo-pooing the idea. I just need something concrete. Anyway.
Yes. So anyway, getting to the meat of Malik's call.
I thought you were just going to leave it at getting to the meat of Malik.
The meat of Malik. That's going to be the title of his cookbook. It'll be a companion piece to Hyle's. So best choice. So it's a little difficult because Killer Instinct is not like a Smash Brothers game where you can mash together a bunch of styles. It definitely has its own voice and its own aesthetic that I wouldn't want to step on too much.
And this is like something that has come up in discussion with the Rare Replay opening about whether that could be canon or not, and that like there's the Donkey Kong universe games, what we call the Donkey Kong universe, of the shared universe of Banjo, Conker, Ghoulies, Viva Pinata, It's Mr. Pants, but some Rare games just don't really gel with that universe. It's
they're more kind of the more realistic. I mean, definitely. The ones that are all part of the same world are usually more aesthetically similar.
I take offense that you would say Banjo-Kazooie is not a realistic game.
Sorry, there's something about Collywobble. Just always sat artificial with me.
Remember, it was Taj the genie who made all of these inanimate objects, living, thinking, breathing creatures.
I have something for this piece of cauliflower.
That's also the title of his sex tape. So yeah, you don't want to break Killer Instinct, and you don't want to break whatever character would be cameoing. That's a hard word to say in Killer Instinct. But so I think Battletoads kind of works, basically.
It's definitely sort of. I think this is all the confirmation we need that the new Battletoads art style was more about getting them into Killer Instinct than it was about Rare Replay, but I think it was kind of serendipitous that it served both purposes.
I think Perfect Dark, you could put Joanna Dark in there, and she would be well suited.
I would request adult Joanna rather than the PD0 redhead version.
Yeah. Wow, that's the first time you've been anti-redhead.
This is true. Ever. When it comes to Joanna Dark, I like a mature brunette.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Also the title of your sex tape. So
where is the... Okay, this shtick is worse than your semen one.
No, Chad McCanna. When it comes to adult Joanna, or when it comes to Joanna Dark, I prefer her mature and brunette.
That's McCanna's Joanna.
Anyway, I would like to personally see Saberman appear just to
Saberman.
Yeah, because a saber wolf, but not his saber wolf, is in the game.
Yes, It's Count Von Saberwolf.
So I would like there to be some continuity there and explain how he might tie into the other Saberwolf, why he chose that name.
Mm-hmm. This isn't a Rare Replay call, is it? This is a Killer Instinct call.
It's all related. It's kind of related because there's
Malik, you fooled us.
You get this DLC for buying both Rare Replay and the Killer Instincts and the Killer Instinct. So
DKU character. It's hard to say. I think I wouldn't want to put Banjo or Conker in there.
No,
I would swing for the fences and put Mr. Pants.
And that wouldn't break Killer Instinct. Like a realistic Mr. Pants.
No, not maybe because that might be hilarious. Like a real like an albino man who just wears red underwear.
That would be terrible. I mean, it would be
and a bowler hat.
It would be hilarious at first, but I think it would ruin Mr. Pants.
No, I don't. Really. You think that Mr. Pants could be ruined by an absurd depiction of Mr. Pants?
I think he should always be depicted as the stick man. Yeah.
But his Stickman style has even evolved. I think it's a bizarre. I mean, shit. In Jet Force Gemini, he was a fully 3D character. He doesn't always have to have the. I think Mr. Pants' style can be fluid.
That wasn't really Mr. Pants, though, was it?
No, canonically it wasn't. But I'm saying he's been depicted in certain styles.
All right. Well, I don't know. I honestly don't think any DKU character should be in it. If there is one, maybe. I don't know, Baron von Ghoul.
Baron von Ghoul.
Yeah.
Like nothing but that during a Killer Instinct match would be amazing.
He's just he's just a weird weirdo who I think would fit in with some of the other weirdos from Killer Instinct.
I would say least the least effective, any of the piñatas. They wouldn't last 5 seconds.
No, and I would say there's so many DKU characters, like you said, Banjo Conker. I would just say any of the more cartoony animal or non-human DKU characters would just be a train wreck in Killer Instinct. And I would want to see it in a general Rare fighter, like a Rare Smash Brothers. I'd be all for it.
Or Smash Brothers itself.
Yeah, but not Killer Instinct itself. I think that's unfair to Killer Instinct. I think that's sometimes you got to keep your peanut butter away from your chocolate.
All right. So let's while we're being reserved, let's talk Rare Replay, because I know that we have.
Let's talk Rare Replay. Yeah,
we have very measured opinions about this buttoned down, no frills, no nonsense title. You've finally gotten to dig into it in the last week, haven't you?
I not only did I dig into it, I Digger T rocked into it.
Oh my God, that's some kind of joke. What do you make of? Let's talk about what Rare internally refers to as the front end, the presentation of it, and then we'll get into the games themselves.
Well, we talked about the presentation some last week. I mean,
sure.
I love.
We didn't get like your hands-on opinion.
I mean, I love the front end is why you buy Rare Replay if you already have most of these games. It is a love letter to Rare and Rare fandom. It's fantastic. I mean, what else is there to say except?
Well, I want to hear like the snapshots, the playlists. Have you done any of the more interactive stuff?
The snapshots I've given a shot at. That wasn't even a joke. I just used a word that was part of the other word.
Part of half the word. Yeah.
The snapshots I like, but again, they're all pre N64 era, which I understand because it's easier to make challenges based on those,
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been nice if they could have like reformulated specific challenges from like Banjo or Conker or something. Where
the Banjo ones, especially would be difficult considering.
Yeah,
those are they're not even like freshly made ports where they've delved into the code to put like achievement events that get triggered.
I understand that. Like I understand like especially for the 360 titles aren't really part of Rare Replay. They're kind of tethered to it, but they're off on their own. I understand that. It would have been cool because those are the games I'm most familiar with. So it would have been nice to have fresh challenges for those,
Well, how are you enjoying the ones that are there?
I'm enjoying them, but I don't know those games well enough to have fresh, like these are like fresh challenges for those games, and I'm not familiar enough with those games for them to be fresh for me. You know what I mean?
So there aren't any of the even the NES ones that like that you played maybe even without knowing that they were a Rare game?
I played them, but not like the pre-DKC games. They're just not. Like, I can't see them when I shut my eyes, you know? I can't, like, play through them all. So the snapshots aren't having the effect they'll have an effect on me when I become intimately familiar with them through playing them enough in Rare Replay, and then I can really appreciate the snapshots. But for now, it's just kind of a nice extra thing that's there that I can't really appreciate because of when I came into Rare and when I came into Rare fandom.
Got it. Yeah, for me, I think the one that's closest to that is Snake, Rattle, and Roll, and that's owing to the fact that Sneaky Snakes is like burned into my retinas, which was the Game Boy version.
But Sneaky Snakes is not in this game. It's only Snake, Rattle, and Roll. So.
Snake, Rattle, and Roll, but it's virtually the same game, only Sneaky Snakes is 2D, whereas Snake, Rattle, and Roll is isometric. But it plays. The isometric one is a little more difficult, and I've actually had to. Have you tried Snake, Rattle, and Roll yet?
That is one of the few I have actually not played yet.
Okay, it was so hard to. I don't know how I did it as a kid on the NES controller, but I've had to actually
when you're young, dumb, and full of cum.
Yes, thank you. I've actually had to rotate my Xbox controller so that the D-pad is basically forming an X that lines up with the way the isometric layout of the stage is, and that's the only way that I can really keep straight what directions I'm actually going in. But it's really hard to land on a precise platform that you're trying to jump on, and there are things pushing you in all directions, and there's a timer, and it's insane, but it's a lot of fun. And that music, that's one of those things because it was kind of the same soundtrack on the Game Boy one.
Who did the music for that one?
I think David Wise. I think.
Well, yeah, I know he did a lot of that era because I don't know. Yeah,
I think it was him. And it would have been he did the NES, and then probably someone else converted it to the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my guess. I don't know. But that one's been a lot of fun. It's just been really hard to wrap my brain around how I'm supposed to play the fucking thing.
You know what game I'm having a lot of fun with? One of the pre-DKC games, RC Pro-Am.
One or two?
One. Okay, because that is the one I'm most familiar with from my days. Elliot had that, and that was one of the ones we went back to and said, "Oh my God, Rare made this game! What?" And that was just kind of one of those delightful surprises once we started paying attention to who made games, and you noticed, you knew Rare from Donkey Kong Country, and then you went back and you're like, "Wait, Rare was around before Donkey Kong Country? What?"
Right.
So RC Pro-Am. So I'm a little bit more familiar. But I remember we played it at E3. We tried.
We played RC. Well, we tried to play 2-player in RC Pro-Am because we're fucking idiots, and then Rare helpfully told us that.
I think it was Adam Park who said, "Oh no, RC Pro-Am 2."
Yeah, and I want to say Drew Queckenbush might have been like looking over our shoulder, like, okay, RC Pro 2, here you go. But then they helped us out.
yeah. But RC Pro M1 is the one I'm most comfortable with. But it's hard as hell to control. And the thing about it though is it's addicting because of how brutal it is. At least in my opinion. Like the more I play it, the more I see myself getting better at it. And that's the part I haven't been able to crack yet because I've played RC Pro-Am, especially Part 2. I played with Janelle multiplayer, and it's it's more or less the same. Only in Part 2 you have upgrades. Are you supposed to like speed up like you're slinging around a gravitational body when you go on curves? I mean, I have such a hard time. Here's what you do with RC Pro-Am.
Yeah,
you got to memorize the tracks, and the only way to do that is to play them and fail. But memorize the tracks, utilize your weaponry too, because sometimes like with RC Pro-Am 1 at least you never have to like. You can get second place without even finishing. You just have to make sure you're ahead of the other cars when the first place car finishes. So you can, breeze to a second place victory at least, so long as you destroy the car ahead of you. So it's not about who races best. It's who's the most tactical. And
you need to get the only thing is you can't get fourth place.
Right. So what blew me away with RC Pro-Am was you've got missiles, you've got mines, there's oil slicks on the track.
This is sounding familiar.
And yeah, Diddy Kong Racing started life as RC Pro-Am 64, but
of course, yeah.
But I realized this is 1987. Rare created the kart racer essentially. They
created the cartoonish. They created the whimsical racing weapon-based racer,
right? Which then Mario Kart did. But I'm just saying that you look at RC Pro-Am and it feels in so many places like Diddy Kong Racing, like an NES Diddy Kong Racing that is harder to play. And you look at Diddy Kong Racing and then you see the skeleton of that game. Yeah, that's RC Pro-Am. It's not Mario Kart. Yeah.
Now some of these snapshots though are brutal on these games. Part 1 and part 2. I just, and maybe that's owing to the fact that I really need to, maybe I'll like create rather than play a track and fail over and over. Thankfully, the rewind will only get you 10 seconds back, but you can make a save state before the track and just play it again and again and kind of grind until you get your skills up on it. I may have to do something like that and then try the snapshots. I think maybe I just haven't spent enough time learning the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. For me, like, I actually had to run out and buy a Xbox One Play and Charge kit. I didn't have one yet. And by the way, 30...
is this the thing that's like a battery pack for the Xbox One that you can charge the same way you do any other modern controller?
Yeah, and you can also plug it in, so you can go so if you really don't want to worry about batteries, you can just plug it into your Xbox One. But
yeah, I had to buy fucking AA's. I haven't done that since the Wii, the Wiimote.
Yeah. So $30 for the Play and Charge kit.
Jesus Christ!
It was like 28 something, but I was just like, oh my god! And then the controllers are
they're $60.
Yeah. So, wow.
When did this happen?
Welcome to modern gaming, Chad.
Yeah. Although, I complained about this price point on the forum, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's been like that for like 2 console generations."
Yeah. The generations you and I were mostly sitting out, or when we weren't, we were playing Nintendo. So.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, we're just behind the times here.
Clearly, I remember I bought my first HD TV for Tropical Freeze, so that's how behind the times I can get.
Wow.
Unless the DKU drags me into the modern era. Yeah, so it's I had to buy a Play and Charge kit.
Like, that is not why I'm a Donkey Kong fan. I'm here to maintain a perpetual state of nostalgic bliss.
Right. Yeah. I want to play my my old outdated block TV and then watch Snick on Saturday nights, Nickelodeon.
Snick.
Remember Snick, the big orange couch, and Keenan and Kel? And,
of course,
they loved
Keenan
Orange
and Kel,
Soda.
all that. Are You Afraid of the Dark? And sometimes Ren and Stimpy, sometimes Roundhouse.
Remember Pete and Pete was on Snick for a very short amount of time.
Very short at the outset of Snick.
Remember Space Cases?
Space Cases? No, that's Creepy Crawlers. I was doing the Creepy Crawlers song, Creepy Crawlers, but I thought it was Space Cases had a similar theme song. Kaylee from off of Firefly was on Space Cases.
Yeah, and the Zack, the Power Ranger.
Yes, yeah. He was was he the Black Ranger or the red one? Or
he was the Black Ranger.
The Black Ranger.
Because
yeah.
remember their Power Ranger colors corresponded with the color of their skin.
Oh my god, yeah. The yellow one was the Asian Ranger. That was terrible.
They established that the Red Ranger had Native American roots.
The Green Ranger was one of the plant people from off of Cameo.
The Blue Ranger was always into autoerotic asphyxiation.
He was played by
David Carradine.
David Carradine.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yep.
So I always have my David Carradine jokes ready to go. I have it on my desk here, a big pile of them.
Doesn't matter that he was an acclaimed actor. He died of autoerotic asphyxiation, and that's all we will remember.
Yeah, his thoughts.
Sometimes I really hate humanity.
Yeah. His thoughts weren't with kung fu at the end; they were with cunt fu.
What? That wasn't even a. That one should have died in your brain.
You know what else died?
So,
David Carradine.
Have you tried just taking a stab in the dark? Well, obviously we know we've both played Jetpack, but One thing that I was surprised to learn is how much I really love Jetpack. Have you gone back and played it again yet?
Jetpack I haven't, because I feel like I've just played it with Donkey Kong 64's Virtual Console release. So it's like Jetpack is not on my like top of list to do. You know, it's
did you get far enough in DK64 VC to get to Jetpack in the second world?
you only need to get like what 15. You only need to get so many banana medals, right?
Yeah. Oh, 15 banana medals. That's
3 worlds.
That's only 4% through the game.
Yeah. So yeah, no problem. But so I haven't tried Jetpack on Rare Replay yet. That's one of the other ones.
What about Revisited or Refueled?
I kind of want to play them all in order. So all of the
Wait, what? But you haven't. Oh, you mean within that series?
Yeah. It's like I don't feel like I should be jumping around at series. So
okay. Yeah, so you obviously then haven't played Lunar nor Solar.
No, I'm looking forward to that though, because I didn't realize how many Jetpack games there were. Like I thought there was Jetpack and then Jetpack Refueled or whatever, and I didn't think there was actually sequels on the Spectrum and then the NES. And like what?
Yeah, I had no idea. I think you'll really like Solar Jetman. I think I talked about it briefly last week, but it's much more explorative. It's sort of like a Metroidvania spaceship game that's very physics based as well. It's pretty cool.
By the way, when did Metroidvania become the accepted term?
Like forever ago. The 90s Metroidvania became an accepted term. It could have been
the 90s because we didn't have this level of communication in the 90s.
It's been a term for a long time. It's you know what it means though, right?
Yeah, I know what it means. I just I didn't sign off on this. Like I wasn't invited on this committee to decide what to call these.
The collective consciousness of gamers everywhere owes you an apology.
Seriously, I'm Hyle / Russell. I'm kind of a big deal on this show.
Have you gone speaking of trilogies that we didn't really know were such, well, I guess this is sort of an aborted quadrilogy, but Saberwolf, have you played that at all?
Holy fuck. In my notes for this episode.
So that's a yes.
in my notes for this episode, I had Saberwolf, and then under Saberwolf I wrote in all caps, what the fuck?
Okay, so what does that mean though?
Have you made any progress in the original Saber? Like what?
Yeah. Oh, I've collected 2 pieces of the amulet.
It's brutal.
And then I panicked and saved the game, and I haven't touched it since.
It's like, was the Spectrum like this S&M machine, like designed for sadomasochists? Because
well, that's where the S is for. Yeah. No, but I think the thing about these old games is that since they needed to be short by virtue of how much they could store on the tapes, they needed to make them difficult to kind of increase the time it took for you to master them and really to get the most out of them.
Okay, but these were essentially like, this is the era that video games were considered just for kids, pretty much, you know?
Yeah, these certainly were not.
So you turn on the game and you immediately die because like animals are running at you.
All right, I'll give you 2 pointers that really helped me out playing.
Please help me.
Yeah, the best technique that I can tell you is, if there are any enemies on the screen at all, or even if you think enemies are about to spawn, hold down the attack button. Unless you're
just hold it down.
Unless you're fleeing from Saberwolf and you need to move a little bit faster, always hold the attack button, because there will be things that spawn right in your face, and unless you're always, parrying, what do they call it when you unless you're always like fencing with your saber,
parrying, the parallel
parrying, yes, and unless you're parallel sword fighting, you could very easily get knocked all the way across the stage and lose a life. That's tip 1. Tip 2: pay attention to the colors of those flowers. Have you realized what's going on there?
Barely. I'm always dying. I'm getting run over by the rhino.
Okay, so attack the rhino and he'll turn around and run the other direction, and keep doing that. Keep bouncing him back and forth until you can get a non-white or non-yellow orchid, because those will make you invincible. The blue, the red, and the purple. they do different things when you collect them.
Did you learn this from the instruction manual?
No, I learned it by I when I started playing the game, I realized pretty quickly that I needed to hold down the attack button, and then for the first maybe half hour that I was playing it, I heavily abused the rewind feature. And sort of through trial and error, I started to.
I haven't used the rewind feature because I don't feel like that's right yet, and maybe I need to get over that mental hurdle where it's like, oh, that's cheating. I can't do that.
Well, just use it to teach yourself the game, and then you can sort of wean yourself off. I
see why they added it though, because for a game like Saberwolf, you need it. Yeah. Modern gamers need it. I'm sorry, but I don't even know who could have beaten this. I don't even think the Stampers ever beat this game.
Yeah, every playthrough they did was tool assisted.
It's okay. Well, that's good advice to have, and that's good advice for all of you who haven't figured out Saberwolf, because I'm sure I can't be the only one.
So I'm assuming you have not yet played Underworld, right?
I can only assume it's harder, like all sequels.
Because this is where, even with the benefit of learning how to play the game with rewind, holy shit. So, Underworld it's kind of a 2D platformer, only when you press the jump button, you have no control over how far you jump. It basically says, okay, you're moving in this exact trajectory, and you have no say over the matter. So you press the jump button, and you're at the mercy of whatever happens to you next. Mm-hmm. And usually that involves like bad guys flying into you from all directions. And when that happens, they sort of turn Saberman into like a little pinball, and he goes careening around the stage.
Now I want a Saberman pinball game.
Exactly. In this, you're not the flippers, you are the ball. So you are at the complete mercy of the board that you're on. But it's very difficult. I've played like 2 of the snapshots. I've achieved 2 of the snapshots, but some of them, like, it's really hard. I haven't gone to Underworld yet, though. I'm looking forward to that. Or I'm sorry, I haven't gone to Night Lore.
But by the way,
I really want to.
I'm disappointed.
Spend some time.
I'm disappointed they didn't spell Night Lure with a U, like L-U-R-E.
Or like K-N-Y-G-H-T.
Yeah, I feel like they abandoned their naming convention after only a couple games. So
yeah, Gunfright. Come on. Yeah, fright should be spelled with a Y, and gun and the U in gun should have an umlaut.
I haven't played Gunfright. Have you?
No, not yet either. That's one I haven't even booted to get the stamp. I don't want to abuse that. Like I said last week, it feels artificial.
And that's why I haven't touched a lot of these games, because I feel the same way. And I feel bad. Like I played Saberwolf, and then I like abandoned it because I just felt like I had no handle on it. But I got the stamp, and I felt terrible about it. I was like, I don't deserve that stamp. Can I revoke the stamp?
Right. I think that. I'm really thankful for the rewind feature, because there are a lot of these games that I would probably play for 5 minutes and never touch again out of frustration, but I'm actually making some headway in Saberman, and at this point I'm more or less not tool assisted, and that never would have happened were it not for the rewind feature.
Yeah, I need to start using the rewind feature, because like I said, I just have to get over, it's not cheating. It's there for a reason. It's like Cheeto in Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be there if they didn't want you to use it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's 200 red feathers between friends, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so not Gunfright. Slalom I have spent some time with. Have you?
Slalom, yeah, I have. And it's enjoyable. It's I love that, like, NES style, like, pseudo mode 7. Like, right. It's like they can't really replicate the feeling of going downhill or of making any like forward momentum, but it's good for what it is.
I mean, keep in mind 1986, this was 5 years before Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, or F-Zero.
Right.
It shows how ambitious Rare has always been, that they even attempted this back then.
Yeah. 5 years? When was Super Mario Kart? Not 91. It had to have been later.
I think F-Zero was 91.
Was it really?
91 or 92, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, like it's really impressive, and the arc of the slope on the screen is so smooth. It almost looks like it was drawn with vectors. It doesn't look like sort of some pixel graphic that they've smashed into shape.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Slalom. Like, this was a game I never even knew about before Rare Replay. Because it's, it's not even talked about in the canon of Rare too much. I mean, Anticipation is brought up more than Slalom. So
I think that's Ozzy Ben's doing, really.
Well, that's basically DK Vine's fault in some way or shape or form. But
we have him to thank for
specifically Ozzy Ben. Yeah.
In fact, he showed on Twitter. He posted a mug the other day that said, "This mug is full of," and then it had the Anticipation box art.
I was disappointed. I spilled coffee on my yellow shirt, so I no longer have the yellow shirt.
Oh my God!
I couldn't get the stain out of my yellow shirt.
You can never make that expression again.
I'll have to get a new yellow shirt.
That's true. There's always that option of just buying another one.
I looked online for where can I buy Anticipation style yellow shirt. I couldn't find anything though. So
damn. Well, maybe you need to narrow that search even more. Anticipation style from the NES.
We should ask Fangamer why they haven't just started producing it, like producing replicas.
Shirts.
Yeah.
The profit margins are incredible. So Slalom is good. So, interestingly, Janelle remembered playing Slalom with her parents when she was really young. She said she had it as like part of this, like some kind of track and field collection of games. I don't know if it was on the same cartridge. Probably not. Probably it was like just a grouping of games.
Well, it wasn't the NES track and field with the power pad because
I mean like this style of like sports games basically.
Really?
But yeah, she remembered Slalom. It might have even been a retailer package,
Okay, because I was gonna say Rare has the rights to Slalom. Like, who published it originally?
No, I'm saying it might have been like Toys R Us said, each game is 30% off if you buy them anyway. She associates the memory of Slalom with that. I don't know the full context, neither does she. But we were enjoying it. We were going back and forth on the alternating 2-player, and it was a lot of fun. I think the one thing I really needed to get a hang of was to not press forward the entire time.
Yeah. I'm scared of trees in any skiing simulation because I just think of poor Sonny Bono.
What about what about snowmen? Do you have a problem with them in a skiing simulation?
No, actually. A tree, like, for some reason, like, I don't even ski, but trees, like, hitting a tree while skiing is one of my fears after Sonny Bono.
Why don't you just say trees down? Trees down.
Oh, is that a Futurama
joke? It is a Futurama's joke.
I was like, it's got to be one of these 5 things.
Yeah, right.
And I guessed right.
And what are you supposed to say when you want the trees up? Trees up! And then Fry runs into the tree.
It was either between Futurama or something that happened on Star Trek The Next Generation in a holodeck episode.
You know what? Janelle and I have...
Oh, God.
We've restarted Deep Space Nine, and apparently we quit literally right before it got good.
Oh, well, I told you, like, that's...
But everyone's been telling us that for 3 seasons, and it was always a lie until just now.
Yeah, you gotta, like, stick it out till Cisco is bald with the beard, right?
We just had this episode, which on paper it sounds like a fan fiction, called The Children of Time, at the end of season 5, where basically they're off in the Defiant, which you already know it's going to be a good episode because they're not on the fucking space station. Star Trek is about exploration. God damn it! Don't confine the whole show to a space station orbiting Bajor.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, Chad. But in Deep Space Nine's defense, it was always on the air with an exploration-based Star Trek show. It started
not always.
Yeah. It started near the end of Next Generation, or like halfway through Next Generation, and then then Voyager overlapped with it.
There wasn't any time. It went straight from Next Gen to Voyager.
Yeah, there was just one summer between those two.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, anyway, I like seeing the Defiant. Anytime I see the Defiant, it's great. They had an episode that it played like a Next Gen episode with. Actually, it played more like a TOS episode with the Deep Space Nine cast. It just had one of those more classic sci-fi style story. It felt more original series. But
have you seen the Tribble episode yet?
Like Trials and Tribulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah,
where they go back in time.
They go back in time. Yes, we did see that. And Worf is talking about. Oh no, we haven't seen it, but I've seen it before, but not on this watch through.
Right. And Worf's like, we do not talk about what happened to the forehead ridges of the Klingon Empire,
which actually is explained in Enterprise.
Yeah, I hear it's some kind of disease. Okay. Michael Westmore just wanted more of a challenge. That's really what it was about.
Are we done talking about Star Trek? Or
I was going to talk about Children of Time. Anyway, it's gotten good. Nog is actually getting some characterization, which is really nice to see. I never expected to like Nog.
Have you seen Vic Fontaine yet?
No, I have not seen Vic Fontaine. I'm still holding out.
I look forward to that conversation on the Kongversation because
there's probably someone from Rare who saw this as like a Rare Replay first impressions episode, and here I just spent 5 minutes talking about fucking Deep Space Nine.
I apologize, somebody at Rare who's listening to this. I apologize.
I don't. I'm glad you heard what I thought about Children of Time. Have you played Cobra Triangle at all?
Cobra Triangle? Yeah, a little bit, but again, not enough to really sink my teeth into.
Yeah, I think I've played one of the snapshots, but I haven't actually tried the game itself yet, because I still don't have the RC Pro-Am mechanic 100% down, and I know it's at least based on that fundamental sort of that contextual direction, like you move as if you're sitting in the cockpit or sitting in the driver's seat of the boat. Uh-huh. So I want to make sure I get it down on Pro-Am before I get to Cobra. So I think I'll have more to say on that perhaps when I give it the time of day.
Right, and that's the problem. There's 30 games. Like, there's no way to give all of these the proper time of day unless you quit your job and just like go like seal yourself off in a hermetically sealed room for several weeks.
Yeah. What's been another highlight for you that maybe from the older games?
Well, I don't know if you would call it a highlight. There's Digger T Rock.
Okay, I have also tried Digger T Rock.
All right. I was curious because Digger T Rock is another one of these that like I had no clue what Digger T Rock was before they started talking about it, in the lead up to Rare Replay. And I remember on the Twitch stream there was some like jokes made like, we got Digger T Rock in here, but we don't got this. And Digger T Rock is certainly a game that they made.
It feels like the sort of games that as a kid I would rent based off of the box art.
And then you have like you play it, you try to get into it, and you just realize you wasted that week's rental on.
It's just the way that the character interacts with the sprites and the like. There are what look like, crumbling rock faces, but I guess those are ladders, basically.
Yeah, okay, here's my problem. I was expecting it to play like one of my favorite parts of Super Mario Brothers 2, which is the digging. Remember the digging stages in the sand?
I thought it was going to be like Dig Dug.
And I thought like you could dig, but then you couldn't make your way back up. And the fact that there's like ladders behind what you dig, it just makes no sense to me. It's like, well, what's the point of digging then?
You really, if you're jonesing for that kind of game, you really need to download on either Wii U or 3DS Steam World Dig. It's fantastic. It's like a digging sandbox game where you can literally.
Were you digging a sandbox? Because that wouldn't take long.
It's like a giant sandbox that goes down to the core of this planet where there's a whole mythology that's going on. But but you can do a thing where like you have to be very conscious about where you dig because you can get yourself stuck. But anyway, Digger T Rock is. I'm not exact. The hit detection on like the mosquitoes and the bad guys is really finicky.
Whoa! I don't know. Here's a thought. Remember, Retro made a tweet the other month that said, "Can you dig it?" Do you think that their next franchise revival is Digger T Rock?
Oh my God! Do you think that Microsoft is about to buy Retro Studios?
Digger T Rock returns, baby.
Yes.
Or they're going to update it for the modern audience. It's going to be Digger T Hip Hop.
So I do want to give this game the time of day, and of course
you'll
I'll
have
need
to. You'll have to get all of the stamps. Yeah.
If I want the Stampers Forever achievement, which I do, because I mean, okay, let's be honest. The lack of the Stampers anywhere in the special features is conspicuous, to say the least.
Well, it's because they can't reach them with the cameras because of the moat around the castle.
That's just Chris. Or no, is that Tim? I don't remember.
I don't know,
which one
but
has
you
a
know,
castle.
they had the resort to just like really shitty warfare tactics, like flinging plague-infected bodies across the on a catapult.
Yeah, a trebuchet, and then anytime they come knocking with their digital SLR camera, one of the Stamper brothers pours hot oil from the hole above the door front.
This actually would make a great Rare game. I want to
actually,
see this game
yeah. Trying to get to the Stampers to have them participate in Rare Replay, that would be a really fun game. It's like a castle siege game.
They should make a Rare Replay 2, which it's just one game and it's this plot.
I would love to see Rare's take on the tower defense genre. This is how it needs to happen. Because now, based on Ryan Stiles' precedent, all of Rare's employees that appear in the Rare Replay special features are now DKU characters.
Oh, whoa.
If Ryan Stiles is a DKU character, they have to be
that was
DKU
presented.
characters.
That was presented as in continuity with the game. These are behind the scenes bonus features.
I don't know.
That would be like saying that like the making of Episode 1 documentary is canon with Star Wars.
But Hyle, it's on a disc that's rated by the ESRB.
It's behind the scenes extras.
I don't know. I think we shouldn't dismiss it out of hand. I probably agree with you, but I think it's worth discussion.
You just
not right now.
You just like batting the hornet's nest, don't you? You don't care if you're gonna get stung. You don't care if it's gonna be like the end of My Girl, where you're Macaulay Culkin and you.
Hey, spoilers.
Oh, sorry, but yeah. You just want to watch the world burn, Chad. That's.
Yeah, Janelle has never seen My Girl, and she was like, "Don't spoil it for me," because we were gonna watch it. We still haven't, but it's like sitting in our queue, and I keep making like oblique, like, you know, want me to spoil the ending? I'll tell you what happens. Macaulay Culkin, he learns how to be himself. And like, I'm making like really horrible puns that I hope she hasn't picked up on yet, but I hope she's logging the exact verbiage so she gets it whenever. I'm trying to basically construct an Arrested Development episode with my wife, and I don't think it's coming off as anything but insufferable.
Which is basically how any conversation with us goes in
the
real world.
Like, why don't you appreciate the fact that I'm giving you the punchline first?
By the way, you know why Dan Aykroyd played a mortician in My Girl?
Why is that?
Because that's when his career died.
Oh, no. We're turning into Jay and Mike, aren't we?
A little bit.
Like this fake hacky shtick.
Fake?
Have you touched any of the Battletoads games yet?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, have you touched any Crystal Skull vodka? I thought you were still doing the Dan Aykroyd thing. I've got some right here on my desk. Thank you very much. Battletoads.
It's how I keep my jowls so full and rich.
What?
Have you not looked at Dan Aykroyd?
Okay,
he's the spitting image of Richard Nixon these days.
I was going to say, is that a Dan Aykroyd is fat joke?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah,
I have no scruples.
He's cameoing. See, it's really hard to say. He's cameoing.
He's elements of powering.
Yeah, in the new Ghostbusters film.
I heard the same about Bill Murray.
Yeah, but Dan Aykroyd's playing the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man because he's fat.
Honestly, I didn't know that a joke was coming, and I thought that he was literally playing the Stay Puft Marshmallow because I wouldn't put it past.
No, he's playing like a cab driver.
Wait, he's not playing. Oh, because it's in a new continuity, isn't it?
Okay. Quick rant.
He's not playing Ray Stantz? I mean, like...
Yeah, quick rant, and then I'm going to get back to Battletoads here.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so Ghostbusters, it was inherent in the original movie. They set it up that Peter Venkman said the franchise rights alone would make us wealthier beyond our wildest dreams.
And then in Ghostbusters 2, they even furthered that in that, like, the franchise rights didn't go anywhere beyond them appearing as themselves at birthday parties.
Right, because after Ghostbusters, the city of New York sued them, and all paranormal activity dried up. They didn't have any more jobs, but then Vigo came, and all the ghosts came back. And
Command me, Vigo!
And then in the Ghostbusters video game, which is was supposed to be in continuity with the two films because it was written by Ramis and Aykroyd. They established that...
Rest in peace, Ramis and Aykroyd's career.
Well, rest in peace, Ramis, and then Aykroyd's career.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but Harold Ramis...
Not Ramis' career, Ramis, and... I should have said Aykroyd's career in Ramis, but I wanted the punchline to be Aykroyd's career, but I can see how it was structurally confusing.
It was, much like Ghostbusters 2.
It's really a joke that works better on paper than spoken aloud.
No, wait, Ghostbusters 2 wasn't structurally confusing. It was just the same structure as Ghostbusters 1, except with slime. Anyway...
You didn't sleep with it, did you, Hyle?
That's like the only line that makes Ghostbusters 2 worth it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
wait, not the child.
No, I don't know.
You don't like that guy? He's great.
No, the guy from Ally McBeal. No,
the guy who worked with Dana.
It was just such a hacky shtick that had no place in the dry style of Ghostbusters. It was like Balky Bucktocamus is in Ghostbusters, and it just didn't work for me. Anyway, even though we have established that Perfect Strangers probably takes place in the Ghostbusters universe. Anyway,
yeah, thanks to Carl Winslow, who was the police officer in the first movie that jailed them.
Right. So anyway, when he and
then he got transferred to Chicago after because he was in a rough patch with Harriet at that time.
That's right. Yeah. Clearly,
we've thought this through off the air.
Off the air, yeah.
I wish that was a joke, but we have literally had multiple conversations about this topic.
There was a brief window of time when we were diehard Perfect Strangers fans. And, anyway, it was a weird time in our lives. So
it's called college.
Anyway, Ghostbusters the video game. Takes place 2 years after Ghostbusters 2, and they're very successful. And at the end of that game, they say it's time to start licensing out franchises. So this is inherent in all Ghostbusters media established by Aykroyd and Ramis.
They have set it up so
if you're gonna have a Ghostbusters movie, that's the premise is it's a Ghostbusters team, but they're all ladies. Why would you reboot it? There doesn't need to be a reboot where the prior films that everybody knows and loves didn't happen.
Right. It's the same problem I have with them constantly rebooting Spider-Man. Just continue with us. We understand as an audience, we're savvy enough that we know that sometimes things happen and you don't want Tobey Maguire in there anymore. We get it. We can put up with Andrew Garfield, or we can put up with whoever this new guy is. Just pretend like we already know about Uncle Ben getting killed. Let's move beyond that, please.
Well, and it's okay, so you get a Dan Aykroyd cameo in your new Ghostbusters movie, and the tape they send out, the training tape, or welcome to your Ghostbusters franchise. He could be hosting it or something. Just
right, yeah. It would have to be a VHS tape because the brand is useless now, and they're not even able to play it. There could be a lot of fun to be had with the idea of resurrecting the franchise, and then maybe both the Ghostbusters franchise and the film franchise. There's a layer of meta humor. They could even have jokes about meta jokes about the dead being resurrected, and there's a lot of clever things they could do.
And that's my reservations about this movie have nothing to do with it being led by all female cast, because that's the accusation that's being leveled against people who have a issue with it. I'm coming at it as a fan of the original films. I would love to see an all-female Ghostbusters movie. You just got to do it right, and I'm really worried they're not going to do it right.
This is just the least creative, most corporate cash-in way to do it.
In Hollywood, in the world of big-budget Hollywood comedies, They get into these ruts where there's 3 people they always choose from: Judd Apatow, Paul Feig, and somebody else.
Feig, yeah.
I know, but I pronounce it like that because I'm an asshole.
He's right.
So but it's and then they cycle through them, and then when they have a couple flops, they discard them, and then they bring in somebody new. It's there's no risk taking in Hollywood comedy, and because of that, that's the reason why most Hollywood comedies suck and flop.
Yeah.
Anyway,
by the way, Trainwreck, Amy Schumer, directed by Judd Apatow, very good. Surprisingly, very good.
Yeah.
Well, not surprisingly, Amy Schumer's really funny, and Bill Hader was the leading man of the movie, and Bill Hader is phenomenal. So great pedigree, and the movie was really great. And I actually saw it at the theater, which I haven't seen a movie in the theater since Jurassic World. So
all the way back in June. Wow.
Well, there's been a lot of movies that I would, superficially be interested in seeing, like Ant-Man.
I saw Ant-Man.
Oh yeah? Did he become an accountant in the end?
That's racist.
I'm sorry. That joke's been made before, though.
Ant meat isn't kosher.
That joke was made by Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. It's already been made.
It was made on Friends when they made a Spider-Man joke.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't think I've seen a full episode of Friends before.
I had to watch it in the past. I had to watch the whole run.
Had to. Yikes.
In a prior relationship, I had to watch it.
Oh. Okay,
and,
well, it's a good thing you're out of that one.
Yeah, but
no, boy,
it actually
deal breaker. Am I right?
The thing is, it's kind of a hacky show, but it actually had some quality writing, comedy writing. So some of the jokes, like there'd be jokes that landed in each episode. So
what do you think of Battletoads?
I don't know. I realized that the Battletoads game I'm most familiar with was Battletoads Double Dragon.
Really?
Yeah, which isn't included in this collection.
Right. So
Battletoads is hard game. In my notes here, I wrote in all caps, "What the fuck?"
So you had a similar reaction to Saberwolf.
Yeah, Battletoads is more accessible than Saberwolf because it's from the era where I was playing games more, and so I can at least figure out what's going on. Like I can figure out you beat up a chicken walker and you can use its leg as a stick. Then that's self-explanatory, but it's just a hard game.
In what world is that self-explanatory?
In the twisted logic of rare games, it's self-explanatory. I mean,
yeah,
but it's just a challenging game. It's not confusing like Saberwolf. It's just brutal. But I mean, the difficulty Battletoads, that's well established. That's well worn ground. We're not saying anything new there.
Yeah, I played I haven't really dug into the NES game too much, but I played the arcade with Janelle. And
you mean the NES game? It's the NES.
What did I say?
SNES.
I meant NES. Yes. I haven't dug into the.
Which you usually say SNES. So it's
the NES. I haven't dug into the NES version of that, nor Earthbound 3, Mother 3, but which is not a NES version. It's actually a Lucas version. But the arcade Battletoads, thankfully, we didn't really have to use the rewind feature too much because it lets you just keep continuing. But it's the coin op, so I think by the time we quit playing, after maybe half an hour, we would have gone through about $45 worth of quarters.
This is how Rare financed the ACM machines for Donkey Kong Country.
It might be, actually.
They just released an arcade Battletoads and then used all the quarters to to pay for the next generation of the company.
There's a Making of Battletoads on the disc, isn't there?
I don't know. Is there?
For some reason, I have it in my mind that I've seen someone at Rare talk about how they intentionally made Battletoads coin op like intensely difficult to get people to keep pumping quarters in. But I don't know if that was on Rare Replay or something I saw on their YouTube channel, or I don't know. I can't recall. But yeah, it was definitely, the difficulty of that game was definitely a financial decision.
Yeah, which more power to you, Rare.
If that got us Donkey Kong Country, that's A-okay in my book.
I haven't played Battletoads Arcade because I want to give the NES game, the original, a fair shot. And
although, if Arcade came out in '94, then that really wouldn't. That timeline doesn't line up.
I know. I was just being a smartass.
Yeah.
But it's
it financed the furry shenanigans in Donkey Kong Country too.
It financed the expansion of Manor Park, and yeah. So I haven't really given Battletoads Arcade a shake yet because I'm still trying to give the NES game its proper due. But good lord, I need a Game Genie. I don't know. Like this is why Game Genie was a thing back in the day.
You need a moon jump code to get anywhere in this game.
Yeah. I need just infinite health. It's right. God, good lord.
That's what flies are for.
Yeah, because they're there's enough of those to keep you going. Jeez,
and I know that it's been remarked on, ad nauseum, but the Battletoads arcade is so filled with just absurdly huge boobs and gore all over the place.
Yeah,
like it's a violent fucking game. I mean, that's the arcade culture of the 90s. This is at the height of Mortal Kombat mania. So
right, it's kind of funny because it's kind of funny to see how Battletoads evolved from, because you have like the beginning and essentially the end of Battletoads, at least where because Battletoads was abandoned as a property once Donkey Kong Country became a thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's only now that it's being revived, now nostalgia for it is higher. But it's funny because Battletoads clearly was Rare was looking at the success of Ninja Turtles and was like, well, we gotta get in on this. We gotta come up with a Ninja Turtles killer, or at least our own version of Ninja Turtles that we'll own, And
right.
But then it kind of evolved into this like gory, like where like. Because at that time it was like Mortal Kombat was the hot thing, so yeah, it's kind of funny how it evolved from the early '90s to the mid '90s, and then it just kind of ended there.
Yeah.
So
and it sort of had the same tonal trajectory as Conquer in a way.
A little bit, yeah. It's funny, the seeing Rash in the Killer Instinct trailer. Have you watched the trailer for his introduction in Killer Instinct?
Yes, only on my cell phone as I was walking down a hallway at work. So I haven't really gotten to pull it up and give it its due.
But they're really playing up that he's essentially just a Ninja Turtle, in his dialogue and his voice, and at least they're being on the nose about it now.
They should get him to be voiced by Rob Paulson.
Actually, I think he might have been voiced by a Ninja Turtle actor in some Ninja Turtle incarnation. That's I remember like seeing something about that. I could be wrong though, because I've been wrong on this show before.
You'll just correct it at the top. You'll correct it at the top of the next episode.
No, I was non-committal on this one, so I don't need to correct jack shit. I'm saying it may or may not be the case. Some people are saying.
Yeah, I have a hard time with Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct Gold. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've again, this is one I've only played about 20 minutes, but I'm not good at combo-based fighting games.
No, here's how I played fighting games back in the day, like Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition.
With the palm of your hand?
Oh, look at clever Chad making clever jokes. What? I don't know. I would, to get to at least feel like I was good at the game, I would play 2-player and then just not have anybody controlling the second controller, and I would just beat up a dummy basically. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would do with Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, the Killer Instinct for the SNES. Eventually I would be brave enough to try the tournament mode, and I would sometimes beat it, sometimes not, but it would just be luck of the draw because I don't know what I'm doing, because it's just button mashing, button memorization, and that's just not the way my brain works.
Right, and I know there are certain ways where, like, you spin the control stick in a certain direction and then hit the button. I need to spend some time in a training mode to really understand it.
The thing about Killer Instinct Gold, though, is it's probably, and I think a lot of people at Rare would maybe agree with this, it's just not a great port. It's clunky. It's clunky.
I'm not familiar enough with the SNES versions to be able to agree or disagree
with
that.
You mean the arcade versions?
Huh?
The arcade versions, like the arcade versions, are the gold standard for Killer Instinct. The ports are not, like the SNES port, the Killer Instinct Gold for the N64. They're not considered that great.
Well, that's strange then that they wouldn't have released the arcade ones, same as they did with Battletoads.
Well, you know why they've done that? Because they're available independently as part of the packages for Killer Instinct.
I thought the ones that were available in Killer Instinct Xbox One were the SNES versions.
No, arcade versions. So they wanted to be respectful towards that and have a version that's not available anywhere else. So.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So the arcade versions are like the ones they made, and they watered them down for the SNES.
They had to. Well, the reason it came out for the SNES in the first place was they promised it in 1995 for the Nintendo Ultra 64.
No, they promised it at the end of the Donkey Kong Country Exposed video.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the arcade game, they said, Coming in 1995 to the Nintendo Ultra 64.
Oh.
Killer Instinct. They were promising the port in the arcade game.
Wow, so you can play this exact game at home.
When the Nintendo Ultra 64 was delayed to 1996, they had to they essentially had to release a watered down version to promise the 1995 release.
Wait, then how did they get two of them on the SNES? Weren't there two Super Nintendo Killer Instincts?
There was Killer Instinct 1, and then there was a Game Boy port of that.
And then there was Gold.
Killer Instinct Gold was Killer Instinct 2.
Okay. See, my whole Killer Instinct history is scrambled, and I know if
Scrambled eggs. Hey.
Scrambled eggs. If Amir from Killer Instinct Central is listening to this, he's screaming into his headset right now.
As he should be. This is like Rare history that's adjacent to Donkey Kong Country. Like, this is our era of Rare.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know it well enough, and I haven't really given it enough time, but I know that I'm going to have a hard time figuring out how exactly to play this.
I honestly don't know what advice to give you. If you should like download the arcade games, actually like play them first, or if that would just hinder Killer Instinct Gold even more for you. So
and I don't have the rewind on this one either.
Yeah.
I think the game does have a training mode. I'm just going to have to ignore the the list of all the moves that I'm doing that scroll by, because it's like listening to like a half-second offset of your own voice. Mm-hmm. Like, I keep paying attention to that instead of trying to do different moves, and I get completely lost.
I am surprised they didn't put the SNES Killer Instinct in here, just because I think that's the one that's more fondly remembered. But I'm kind of happy to see Killer Instinct Gold in here, because it is the forgotten about port. It was out that fall, the 1996, the launch season of the N64. So it was Rare's first N64 game.
Yeah. So I haven't touched Blast Core, so I don't have much to say about it. I've honestly I rented it once as a kid, and I vaguely remember it. But
same here.
This is one I'm putting off, because I really want to dig into it, because it seems like something I would have a lot of fun with.
Well, yeah, I rented Blast Core because it was a Rare game, and because I was like desperate. It was like 97, so it predated Diddy Kong Racing, because I remember I wanted to play as much Rare games for the N64 as I could to get a feel of what their Donkey Kong games would feel like. Just random child logic, but that's basically how I was thinking. So I was just like trying to just soak it all in, and
right.
Yeah, but so I rented Blast Core maybe twice. I don't remember, but I haven't played it yet, because it's kind of falls in the middle between these classic games I haven't played and the games I'm intimately familiar with. So it's just kind of one of those games I haven't touched yet in Rare Replay.
Yeah. Of course, our opinions on Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie are well documented. I don't think we really need to...
No, and it's weird for the 360 games, and it's weird to lump those in with the 360 games, but that is what they are, along with Perfect Dark. They're 360 ports. They're just...
Well, no, but they're not lumped in there. Chronologically, they...
No. I know, but I mean, as far as... Like, they're not... They're like the... off to the side of Rare Replay. You can access them through Rare Replay and get those stamps from Rare Replay, but they're not part of the Rare Replay package technically.
Well, no, I mean
you're getting the 360 downloads by buying Rare Replay and then accessing them through them, but it's not part of the same.
I think I still consider it part of the same, because there's the one feature where you can still hold down the menu button and get back to Rare Replay.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's not part of Rare Replay, because that's a ludicrous statement to make, but it's also it's downloaded separately. It's accessed independently.
I think that's semantics.
It's semantics.
It can be accessed independently, but I view it as part of the package.
Yeah, I know, and it's what they had to do to get them all in there, because I remember asking at E3, how the hell are all these games in this one disc? And, well, this is how. So, but yeah, it's I don't think we have anything to add, because Kazooie Tooie, this is stuff we talk about all the time on the show. So, yeah, they're great games, and this is the first time I've really given the 360 ports a time of day, and they're fantastic. I was a little hesitant about trying them out because I knew
Were you really? I mean, the praise has been virtually universal.
Yeah, I know. It's just slightly different from the way I remember it, but they try to be as faithful as they can, minus the stop and swap stuff. And they updated some textures and some, it's smoother and it's good. It's polished. It's a shinier Banjo.
Yeah, they improve, much like sort of the same ethos that all of Rare Replay's games have. With those ports and Perfect Dark for that matter, they improved the areas that they could without violating the memories of people who loved them on the original system.
Yeah, when I was showing Michelle Banjo-Kazooie last week, I was just like, okay, this is just exactly the way my brain has always remembered it. So, minus a Nintendo logo here, or there's like a different character model for their talking heads there, so it's fine.
Right. Yeah, it's totally fine. They're still a lot of fun. Jet Force, I couldn't stop saying good things about it last week. Have you tried it yet?
Jet Force, I'm waiting for that because I want to. There's certain games where when I play them, I just want to play them and nothing else in Rare Replay. I want to just focus. It's hard to focus on one game right now with Rare Replay because I'm kind of flittering around. There's just so much to take in. And there's certain titles like that where I want to wait because it's going to be an experience when I finally play them.
It will at that. I know we'll be pretty far removed from our Rare Replay first impressions by that time.
We're going to be talking about it here or there. It's going to come up in casual conversation. If Deep Space Nine and Ghostbusters can come up, and we can go on tangents about that, we can surely do the same for Rare Replay.
Oh yeah, you're going to go on a 20-minute tangent about Diamond Geezer when you meet him. That's a Jet Force Gemini character.
I know.
Really?
You talked about Diamond Geezer when we did our Jet Force Honorable Mentions episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I did. Oh, there's one guy that I totally forgot about in Tofrit, which is the third planet you go to. Or the second planet, the third stage, because the second stage is a space station. There's a... shut up. There's a guy on Tofrit that... I think his name is Gimlet. And his only purpose is to request that you find his stolen underwear that was stolen from him and thrown up in a tree. So, yeah, there's an underwear NPC fetch quest in Jet Force Gemini.
Wasn't that the whole premise of the Nickelodeon show Salute Your Shorts?
Exactly right. Yeah, that's... Yeah, it was Michael at first, and then it was Pinsky, but they both had to look up the flagpole and salute their shorts.
Pinsky, whose family, they're in the salami business.
Were they really?
Because Ugg loves salami, and that's how he won Ugg over.
That's right, and Ugg also went. His alma mater's mascot was a giraffe, and
with
that's
the big
how he
black
knew
tongue.
The giraffe's tongue. I thought it was blue. Was it blue?
I thought that was black. Oh my god!
He opened his mouth and screamed, "Go giraffes!"
Wow!
Salute your shorts, ladies and gentlemen.
That was never on Snick. That predated the Snick era by a couple years.
I'm having a hard time with Perfect Dark.
Oh, we're done talking about Salute Your Shorts. Okay. Why? What's the problem with Perfect Dark?
So, as a kid, not as a kid, I was 15 when it came out. I only ever played Perfect Dark multiplayer with my friends. I never really played the single player campaign, and
I played the single player campaign a little bit. That's how I knew the Chris Sutherland reference to Actor H. Joanna, and other things. But I mean, I never beat it. I mean, because I think Elliot had Perfect Dark. I only rented it a couple times, so I never really progressed in the single player. But we played multiplayer quite a bit.
Yeah, I had such a hard time just playing it recently, figuring out how to start the game. Because I was expecting like a series of save files that I could start and I would go on my campaign. But I mean, I guess the way the menu is structured is really interesting. It confused me for a while because you can explore Carrington Institute, or you can go to solo missions, which I thought those would be like challenges, you know. Yeah. But then there was no option to start the game or to start, a save file. And I've been going to file 2, of course. So I wandered around Carrington Institute for a while, talking to everyone, trying to figure out like, okay, where's the where's the save game menu? And ultimately I discovered that solo missions basically is the campaign, and you get dossiers that you can kind of go on these missions, and you get the next one after you've beaten the previous one. So that's kind of how the game is structured, and I had no concept of that. So it was a little awkward. It took me about a good 15 minutes to actually figure out how to start the game, but it played well. It plays well.
Yeah. Perfect Dark. That's one I'll. You can't play Perfect Dark online, can you?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I think PD0. I think you can. Well, I don't know. Actually, when they did the XBLA port, did they give it online? You'd think they would have, right?
Well, we should play Perfect Dark against each other if we can. We need to figure that out.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Actually, I've not yet popped my Xbox Live Cherry. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I even in we sort of
you haven't Red Ring did.
I have not. No, I have not. No, it's back in the original Xbox days, even with Conquer, we never had a connection that would have been good enough for that. Like we had DSL, but nowhere near a good enough DSL connection to play online.
Right. Back in those shaky early days of online.
Yeah, I wasn't pulling 50 megabit down, 25 up. It was quite a bit worse. It was like double dial up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we basically drifted away from gaming for a while during the bulk of the 360 years. So yeah, I really never have had an online Xbox experience. So I would love to start some of that via Rare Replay if that's an option.
Hey, we can even talk to each other because it's not Nintendo.
That's right. The headsets work.
Oh my god. The shackles are off.
We've Ghoulies looks oh well, yeah, I mean, well, I guess Conquer. Let's talk about Conquer.
Well, Conquer and Ghoulies, because I feel like they're cut from the same cloth in that how fantastic they look. We already talked about how great Conquer looks.
Yeah, in HD, it's a sort of a new experience. And honestly, I tried to replay Bad Fur Day a while ago on the N64, maybe about 6 months ago, and I got frustrated and just sort of quit and never looked back at that section right after the Haybot where you have to throw the knives at the electric cords to get out of that silo.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason was the controls, there's no aiming reticle, and it got so dark on my screen I couldn't tell what the fuck I was looking at. All of that was absolved with playing it. Even last night, in fact, I played through the Barn Boys chapter, and it was perfectly fine, and I had no problems hitting all 6 of them, and it plays really great. The camera's a little wonky because it's backwards from how Banjo is configured, at least the horizontal camera. So if you come straight from Banjo, it's really tough to get a grip on.
Right, but that's would be the case no matter what. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it would be cool if I think if they were to do another modern controls style update like Jet Force, Conquer would be the one to do it for.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary, though.
No, it's not necessary. It's a minor annoyance if you're switching back and forth between games.
Yeah.
Now I haven't gotten to the shooter portions yet, so if they're as wonky as Jet Force was, then they kind of probably need to. But I don't know how those play.
But here's the thing: Jet Force always gave me a headache where I beat the shooter portions of Conquer in a relatively short amount of time. So I don't think.
Oh well, Jet Force never gave me a headache, but the way that the controls were configured on the Xbox—that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really weird. And they were right to put out that patch. I'm not sure how they would map the movements of Conquer to the Xbox One controller, so I don't know if the complaints, if there are complaints or not.
I don't know. I try to block out negativity as much as I can.
Well, I mean, if it's constructive criticism that could potentially lead to a patch that improves the game, there's no problem with it. When it's saying all the good people at Rare left in 2002, then yeah, maybe not.
When it's saying Ghoulies is a shit game and we're not going to change our opinion on that, even though we can replay it right here, but we're just going to stubbornly refuse, then that's where I have issues, and that's all. That's all I'm going to say about that, Chad. Don't worry, but
I feel like this episode is getting pretty long.
Long in the tooth, but we're almost done.
Well, there are a couple of the later titles that I want to give their due, but I haven't played PD0. Obviously, Grab by the Ghoulies gets the same amazing visual.
Yeah,
upgrade.
I wanted to say real quick with Ghoulies, like that's probably the game I played the most outside of Banjo. It's Ghoulies on Rare Replay, and oh my god,
stunning!
It is. Ghoulies holds up as well as I remembered it holding up, but now that it's so smooth and crisp and it just plays like a dream, Project Dream.
It's the Rare game. Haha. It's the Rare game that you can approach sort of in this updated form, and it looks the same way that you remember it looking back in standard definition on a CRT. It's made that upgrade to modern resolutions and televisions and widescreen so elegantly.
Play Ghoulies. If you trust us just once in your life, trust us, and you've got to give Ghoulies a shot because it's made by the Donkey Kong Country team, the Banjo team. Come on, give it a shot. It's fantastic.
All the others, I really, they were all during that time when I haven't really had a chance to play them yet. So,
and I think we're waiting to play those. Like I said, we already talked about Viva Pinata. We've talked about Cameo. We want to give those their due, proper due, because they're huge games. It's not like Slalom where you can just pick it up and and dick around with it a bit. You've really got to invest time in those. So,
and of course, I played Nuts and Bolts because obviously, if there was one game that would have gotten me to take a peek outside the Elvis and Slick Monty sphere, it would have been Nuts and Bolts. But that's one that I only played through a few missions. I think I might have got to the third world, but I'm really looking forward to digging back into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard there are performance issues with the Xbox 360 emulation, but the team seems to be responding. Not the Rare, Rare is referring that to the 360 BC team, and they seem to be putting out updates and patches really focused on stability and performance. So I think hopefully those complaints are short-lived.
Absolutely, yeah. So anything else we want to touch on Rare Replay for now? I mean, I know we're going to be talking about it weeks and months from now, but
well, some of the games that we sort of glossed over, as we dig into them, we'll come back and provide updates on those.
Even if they're not the core content of the episode, I'm sure near the top of episodes we'll have Rare Replay updates or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think that's the only way. It's really hard to handle a game like this, because this isn't even a game. Like I said, it's not even a greatest hits. This is a gaming equivalent of a box set.
Yeah, I don't know how to play this thing, much less review it. It seems insane to me that people were giving reviews for Rare Replay after having a weekend with it.
That's where I kind of raise my eyebrow a bit. I'm like, really? Are you really reviewing it? Are you just...
No, you're leaning on the reviews that your website had for the games back when they originally came out. That's why everyone is making jokes about Ghoulies. They probably didn't play it over the weekend.
Yeah. Right, and that's what irritates me, because in any other entertainment format, people will give new reviews, new viewpoints on things that weren't given their critical fair shake back in the day. Like movies are always looked at in new light after several years.
Yeah,
video games should be the same way.
If Francis Ford Coppola released a box set of The Godfather that had the originally restored Donkey Kong Country soundtrack, film reviewers would actually watch it before giving their opinion. They wouldn't go back to their original Godfather review and lean on that.
Right. So anything else? I mean,
the snapshots, I can't. Yeah, we're going to continue this because basically, I think that our Rare Replay updates are going to be which snapshot drove you insane this week,
or which behind the scenes video really spoke to you. I don't want to spoil those for anybody.
There's some really good ones.
It's like the Beatles anthology, but with rare people. It's like, why is Greg Mayles in a shop? Like, why is he being interviewed in a workshop? That's so random.
Yeah. I hope we never learn the answer to that.
I hope it's like Paul McCartney on the tugboat. It's just a thing that he did.
or the campfire. Yeah.
Anyway, Rare Replay. check it out. Buy it. I mean, it's $30. If you don't have an Xbox One, just go ahead and buy Rare Replay and just sit on it Potsy, until you get an Xbox One, because you're gonna want to get an Xbox One for this.
Yeah. This is
don't be one of those people. Oh, but Microsoft, just get over it. Just you're supporting Rare, and that's what's important, because they're awesome. They've done like the greatest video game compilation of all time.
This is the platinum standard. A gold standard would be an insult to this thing. It's so fucking good. This is the platinum Floyd mission medals of video game compilations.
Even if Saber Wolf will make you say "what the fuck" in all caps.
Yeah.
Seriously, what the fuck?
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.